Good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. We are here in a balmy, wonderful, sunshiny Orlando, Florida today, going over. Okay, we are getting cut off already. Okay,
Gardner. In the third spot will be Spencer Triplett from the University of North Carolina. And in the fourth spot will be the East-West snapper, who's also going into combine like Bo Garrison Grimes. So that will
okay,
be the first four. So if you look, it's 4, 1, 2, 3 in the
okay.
first group.
I
Understood?
got you. Yep,
Got it.
sounds good. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here
Six right,
first.
six left.
They're throwing 12 total balls, and then we're switching to short. Joining me today in the booth is going to be none other than Indiana Hoosier legend.
Talk about legend.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sean Ratcher played at Indiana University. Currently a free agent long snapper. The long snapping mind here today.
Yeah. So we're going to be in the booth. We're going to get after it and see what the long snapping has to offer for us today. Right, so they are getting ready to start going off. The leaderboard today is going to be inactive. We were unable to procure somebody to operate the leaderboard for us. If you want to slide in a little bit more so the viewers can see you. And we will get started on it. So what are we looking for today, Sean? That's the important thing for watching snappers is trying to figure out what it is that we're looking at. If you don't mind getting more
Yeah,
of, like
so
the
going
snappers.
going left to
Yeah.
right here, taking a look at who's in there right now. Garrison Grimes is going to be in
Yep.
the BYU helmet.
Mm.
Bo Gardner, that's going to be LS1 during
Yep.
this draft. Both guys have the size.
Yep.
When it comes to kind of what we're looking for from a snapping standpoint, smooth rotation, speed, nothing too crazy, but a catchable football, and making sure their transition and footwork is clean. The first group you got going out there, Bryce Robinson, he's about 6'6", 6'7", 250. Bo Gardner, I think he's in the 6'3", 6'4" range, probably about 240. Um, did I say Bo? No, it was
Yeah.
Garrison Grimes. Sorry. Bo Gardner is going to be like 251, 6'4", 6'5". And then the last guy you
Yeah.
got in there is going to be Spencer Triplett, North Carolina, another bigger guy. So all these guys, they have the size. They check that box. Really what we're trying to compare side to side here is one, who throws the best football, and two, who gets back well, who looks like they can block. They're going to have a guy holding the pad here. Obviously, you can't showcase too much physicality, but
Yeah.
you can see a little bit of, athleticism and see who really fits the build of an NFL snapper.
Yeah, absolutely. So those keeping up. People are starting to trickle in now. Yeah, we will have the chat pulled up. We'll be able to answer any relevant and, of course, appropriate questions that the chat might have to offer. We'll try to answer them as we're going along, but obviously the main focus of this stream is going to be interpreting what you guys are seeing here and seeing sort of the long snappers do their thing right now and then switching over to the punters and the kickers. But we are getting warmed up here and getting ready to show off what these guys have to offer. It's a good group of guys. Obviously, some big names here. We've got Georgia, BYU, Virginia, North Carolina, all represented, and we will be able to really see what they've got going on here as we kind of finish through the warm-ups.
And that's just group one as well. I mean, this is a pretty solid snapper group. When we talk about who the top guys are in this draft, you've got over on the far end here, Tyler Duzansky from Penn State. You got Ben Mann from Boston College, Bryce Robinson, Garrison Grimes, and Bo Gardner. All those guys are really going to be top guys in this draft. There's a very, very large group of combine invites here today with us.
Yeah, and the good part about events like this is even if a guy hasn't previously been thought of as like a top pick in the draft, for long snappers, this is an event where you can maybe change your outcome, change your fortune a little bit. Go throw a bunch of really clean balls, show that you've got some good footwork, show that you can block. So punters are going to be just catching the ball here. We're currently labeling the strike zone right now, getting the rules out here for the long snappers. Okay, and we are about to start off. They're going to be protecting over to the right. This is going to be Virginia's long snapper. This is Bryce Robinson. And snap number 1 is underway, and the event is officially kicking off. He's snapping to Ryan Eckley, and that is
Funny.
a dot. It's exactly what you want to see. Bonus points for laces up, but we don't really care about
Yeah.
that, right?
Just a plus there.
It's just a plus.
So
Can't-
as we mentioned, this is the top guy in this year's draft.
Yeah.
Very interested to see what the ball looks like.
Pure, a little
Perfect.
wobble
Yeah,
on
a
it,
tiny
right?
bit.
Tiny bit of how much wobble do you think is acceptable for a snapper?
That is
That's-
acceptable.
yeah.
Amongst the group yesterday, it seemed there was a handful of guys that had a little wobble. Obviously, transitioning, that's pretty heavy wobble.
Yeah.
Transitioning from a college football to an NFL football is pretty big difference in
Yeah.
size. So some of these guys are still kind of getting the hang of it.
All right, and it's got to be quick to get up on these. Get to it. A little bit more wobble right there too. Is I'm guessing that's on the upper end of how much wobble you would want to have.
Yeah, the biggest thing when we talk about snap times are is it still a catchable football, right? If
Yeah.
you can throw a 6.7, 6.8 up to a 7.0 and it's
Yeah.
got wobble on it, your op time's not going to be great. So watch Bryce here.
Just
Relatively clean football,
really clean,
tiny
yeah.
bit of wobble.
Little wobble there too. I noticed that a lot of guys who threw really clean balls in college do sometimes struggle. Is that just the size of the ball?
I think it's just the transition and
Yeah.
getting your head up quicker to block.
Yeah,
That's
that was
a very clean
that was
football.
awesome. That was perfect right there. So that's as far as stuff like gauging speed, a good metric, at least that I've used, that's a lot of
Yeah,
wobble
it's
on
pretty
that
heavy.
one. That would be something to take note of. But as far as like a metric, if you want to gauge speed without having a stopwatch because it's hard to time, a good way to gauge a speed is just looking at the arc. Is it on a rope back there, or is it just kind of rainbowing back? Everything so far has been pretty good, but I think the ideal line is almost a straight line from the long snapper's hands to the punter's hip. If you see it kind of rainbow in and arc in a little bit, so that was 0.72.
Bryce Robinson.
Very good hand time snap right there. Bo Gardner here had a couple good snaps. Let's see if he can keep it going.
Most of these guys we want a hand time sub 7.5.
Yeah, that was an awesome one.
Probably a 6.7, 6.8.
For those keeping them at home, the 6.7 counter is at 3. We have said it 3 separate times up to this point, so we'll keep up with chat. See, another little wobbly there.
7.4, little wobble.
Yeah, maybe a hair. That's the upper end of how high you would want it. For what it's worth, anybody who tuned into the college showcase and then is tuning into this, the metrics for how as a great
That's
ball.
a dot right there.
That was perfect.
7.2 right on the hip.
The criteria we're holding to everybody here is going to be a lot higher than we're holding college punters to. You know, when we were at the transfer showcase, that was a great ball
6'9".
right there. When we were at the transfer showcase, we are trying to get guys into other colleges. It's a very different feel than trying to get guys into the NFL. That is a beautiful ball. It's very
That's
catchable.
as good as it gets.
Yeah, that is about as good as you get it here. And then just watching these guys transition, being able to keep their weight kind of in front of them as they're trying to shuffle back and be able to make a play here. Another important thing to just kind of watch.
Yeah, one thing to pay attention to as these guys get back is, are they on their heels or are they getting back downhill and really attacking the rusher here?
Yeah, because we've seen in some games in the NFL they send guys right at the long snapper. So if you don't have good balance, it harkens back to Green Bay in the playoffs a couple years ago. Guy gets blown back into a punt in the back of the end zone, ends up being the difference in the game. So being able to keep your balance and deliver a strike to the defending player instead of just trying to catch him can be paramount to the success of your team. It's a very important skill to have. So the balance here is nothing to scoff at. Right there, that's a great rep.
Looks very dialed.
Yeah.
I mean, across the board, we haven't really seen a bad location yet. It's
Yep.
just how clean and catchable is the football.
Right. We're looking mostly for wobbles, and the wobbles for Carolina have been that'd be Spencer Triplett
Yep.
have been a little bit more on the intense side, but it looks good on his feet. So it's something that as he handles a Duke, we hope we can clean up. But that right there is already clean. These are the things that scouts are going to be looking at here. Yeah, for those who are joining in from the West Coast, waking up at 6 a.m., watching long snappers at 6 a.m. with your morning coffee, we welcome you. Thanks for stopping by. these long snappers here, someone is going to be playing for or against your team next year in the NFL. That is from this camp, from these long snappers. There are
If I
some
had to bet, it's probably the guy in
in
the number one jersey there.
the number one, Bo Gardner.
A little heavier wobble on
Yeah,
that, a little higher of a ball.
a little high again, just kind of hitting the top of the chest, which is it is playable. You're not really going to hear many people complain about that, but as far as when you're at these combines, you're looking for perfection on every single snap, right? In a game, it would sound like we're nitpicking, but at these combines, we do expect people to go perfect. So they just finished up the blocking to the right. We're going to have the next group come in, take a couple practice snaps, and start blocking to their left.
Yeah,
And
so
let's
that
see.
was what set number one for these guys.
Yeah.
Getting across the board. Bryce Robinson threw a fairly clean ball. He had a
Yep.
couple that a little bit of a wobble. Location was great. He's got enough length that
Yep.
he kind of makes up for anything that he lacks in
Yep.
terms of athleticism. He gets back really well. Bo Gardner, I don't
Looked
think
awesome.
there's a complaint there, right? Triplet, a little bit of a wiggle on the ball.
Yeah.
And Grimes, I think I've been pretty surprised with. Throws a clean ball.
Yeah.
Times are good, and I want to say he's probably one of the more athletic guys in the group.
Yeah, it looked really good. Ball was coming back fast. It looked very catchable. We did the only slightly mishandled snap we saw was from Triplet as it kind of snuck through the hands of the punter that was holding, which is to be expected when you don't have a super tight spiral. The tighter the spiral, the easier it is for a punter to catch it. So just a little bit of proof that we're not blowing a ball though, right there. Um,
Yeah,
I think they're still in the warm up, unfortunately, but
they're going back left here. I don't know
yeah,
how much of a wiggle you can really see with a Duke on
yeah,
camera, but I mean we're being pretty objective about
yeah,
things here. And obviously, when you take a look at the punters across the board, Gabe Nwosu's on this side here. He's
yeah,
probably 6'7", 6'8". His strike zone's going to be a little bit different than Eckley
yeah,
or Jeff Yurko here as well. So
right.
you got to be able to adjust who you're throwing to.
Exactly. So
A little high there.
a little bit high. So a ball that would be a strike to Nwosu could be a ball to somebody like Eckley, right? Because Eckley comes up to a little bit over Nwosu's shoulder. So if you throw it shoulder height to Nwosu, great ball there, but you're going to hit Eckley in the face, and that's going to be a ball. Georgia's long snapper, Bo Gardner, continuing to throw pearls.
Let's see if Triplett can put one together.
There it
That's
is.
that's a pretty heavy
That's a good
wiggle.
one.
Yeah.
Just where do you think that comes from? Is that a release thing?
I think a lot with him is he's trying to get his eyes up too quick and not finishing the snap, so it's
Yeah.
kind of slipping off. That's very
There you go.
cool.
That is a great ball. He gets some velocity on that one. He gets some velocity on it.
You take a look at the builds too. A lot of times with some of these guys, you've got a little bit more of that tight end build. Grimes is a guy that looks like he could play linebacker.
Yeah, he definitely does. That is
Beautiful
a
ball.
perfect ball. I like how that one, it has velocity, but it comes in soft. There's kind of an art to that where it doesn't, you
Yeah,
gotta get what I'm saying? Where it
When
has,
you talk about the guys that are the best snappers and the guys that last a long time in the league, the ball is very, very catchable.
yeah,
And they can plug and play anywhere because you don't have to get used to the
Yeah.
velocity of the football.
right. There's something to be said where, unlike other positions, the long snapping has like finesse. It's not just the faster the better. There's kind of a sweet spot where 0.72 hand time, where it hits your hand soft. Another
A little cleaner, still a little
cleaner.
wiggle on it.
Yep. We've yet to see just like that pure, super tight spiral out of his hands, but we also haven't seen a terrible ball either. But we'd like to see at least one. Now he's been throwing laser beams. That's another one right there.
So, very good example of a ball there. Probably at the ribs or chest of Gabe Nwosu. That might be at
the face
upper
of
chest of Tommy Doman. You
Yeah.
know, it's very, very different, but
right.
just throwing to kind of the strike zone of the guy you've got. Another high ball from Bryce Robinson. I think sometimes
Yeah.
with a guy of that length,
Yeah.
you throw high every once in a while, but he throws a very, very clean football.
Yeah, it's been catchable, and the important part for punters is you just don't want to
That's
go. That's a
as
great
good
ball.
as it gets.
Yeah.
Bo Gardner looks very, very good.
Yeah, you just don't want to get a ball that's going to force your punter to flip his hands. You can get away with a lot as long as you have a disciplined punter who can keep his thumbs up when he's catching it, because that keeps the operation really clean.
A little heavy wiggle at the chest.
Well, yeah, and a little high on the chest right there. But as you can see, well, actually, you might not be able to see. We're about to move the camera here real quick to get a better view of everything, but is a hair high.
Slight little I don't even know if it's a wiggle on there. There's
Yeah.
a little English to it, but
Yeah. It does.
very good velocity.
It does come back kind of like the nose on that ball moves a little bit, which is I don't want to say strange because I don't want it to sound bad, but it is a different style of ball being thrown
Yeah.
from
And a lot of times, and this is a little too deep into snapping, but you
yeah
take a look at who guys are coached by here, right? So
yeah
all three guys on the left side are going to be special teams. You guys, their
yeah
grip is all going to be similar. Grimes is a guy that's got more of a Ben Bernard grip, Arizona guy, where he's
mm,
throwing a little bit more thumb dominant.
mm,
It's very, very
yeah
different, but both guys have had success putting guys into
yeah
the league. So more than one way to skin the cat here.
exactly. And then we just got our first high snap as Eckley had to go up for that one.
Yeah, getting a crossface here.
Right. There we go. Another, I mean, this guy is automatic right now. Bo Gardner is snapping out of his mind and showing why he's probably the top dog in this class. No pun intended for the dogs.
High,
Oh, and
well,
we get another high one. The one thing that's very not spoken about as much for these camps, it is hard to stay dialed in for 12 snaps in a row. It doesn't sound like that much. It sounds like a small, insignificant number, but just being perfect for 12 snaps is just a marathon.
great ball.
As another great ball. Really good rotation on it, too. Very tight.
The one thing to take notice of here too is when you talk about protection specifically,
Yep.
it's just having clean feet, right? You
Mm,
can tell who's athletic and who's not when it
yeah.
comes to just that cross face, right?
Yeah.
Do you look defense or do you look like you're chasing after somebody?
Yeah. There you go. Bo Gardner back up. He's been perfect up to now. Let's see if he keeps it going. Of course he does. Of course he does.
The slowest I've gotten him is 6'8",
Which
which
is,
those metrics for you guys that don't know are incredible.
yeah. We're looking for those who keep tuning in, below a .75. That was a good ball right there. At least location-wise. Didn't get to see the wiggle, but it looked like a very good ball.
A little bit on it. But with Bo, it's
Yeah.
a catchable 6'8", which
Yeah.
it doesn't come around very often.
Yeah. Perfect combination of mastery and poise. That ball's probably a little low,
A little low,
right?
but
Especially
that
on
might be
Nwosu.
mid thigh on
Yeah.
Ryan Eckley, you know?
That is the blessing and the curse of snapping to somebody tall is that if you go what would be a catchable low ball on
Beautiful.
another punter, it's going to be a little bit even lower on a guy like Nwosu, who's built like a brick house. So, all right,
Last one here from Bo.
last one from Bo. Let's see how he does. He's been awesome, and he's going to continue to be awesome. That might have been his highest one of the day, about upper chest, but not a problem at all.
That'll work. So the next thing coming up here, a little wiggle there
A
from
little wiggle
Triplet.
again, but to be expected at this point.
When these guys go into short snaps, this is really the differentiator of a college level snapper versus NFL snapper. The
Mm.
guys that are very, very dialed with their rotation and throw perfect laces are guys that can play in the league for a long time.
Yeah.
It's another great ball from Grimes there.
Yeah, Grimes has been incredibly impressive. So they're just going to go four. So we're just rolling through it on these long snappers. So these guys are about to go back into the training tent, get some water, and then come back out. Sean, who stood out to you right there?
I think when you take a look at that group right there, Bo Gardner's by far the best guy. I think Bo Gardner's probably bounds ahead of everyone in this class. I think a close second is Bryce Robinson, but Grimes is right there with him.
Yeah.
I don't think Triplet had a bad round. There's just a little bit of a wiggle on the
Yep.
ball. But when you take a look at athleticism, I think Grimes probably wins the battle.
Yep.
Pure snapping, Bo Gardner throws one of the most catchable balls I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think also the slight wiggle that we maybe saw from Triplet was definitely exasperated by how perfect everybody else seemed to be throwing the ball. Everybody started off with a little bit of wiggle, and then they kind of settled in and started throwing just pearls, and Triplet just kind of continued to wiggle it back a little bit, but still good location. He was able to block really well. His footwork looked nice, at least to the uh, you know initial look. So it's been
Doesn't help when everybody else throws.
yeah.
Perfect.
And being next to some of the top dogs, that's always one of the hard parts of these combines is you can have a good day, but sometimes you're standing next to somebody who's having a great day, and that is just the reality. I'll never forget a fun story from my attempting to get into the NFL career is my first combine like this. I showed up and had to kick next to Marquette King and Tyler Newsome, two of the biggest legs that football's ever seen. So despite that I had a good day. Those guys had great days, and that's just something you kind of have to get over. So it looks like they're getting ready. So we're gonna cut back to the
So on these, we'll relay to you guys what the laces look like, kind of what we're looking for. Eighth of a turn to eighth of a turn is going to be quote unquote perfect. You got
Yep.
a quarter out, quarter in, and then laces back.
Yeah.
Obviously, trying to eliminate as many laces back snaps as you can.
Right. So
Perfect from Bryce Robinson to start.
yep. And we're not gonna have a great view. We are going to have to take Tanowski's word here. That's a little bit high. It's a little bit high from Gardner there. So we'll see how he reacts.
Laces straight back from
Straight
triplet,
down.
but the rotation looks better on his shorts
Yep.
so far.
So, and a lot of times,
Great ball. Great ball.
you know, a big factor that comes into like combine catching for punters is there's some micro adjustments you can make, and we're already seeing guys make some adjustments that typically you'll want to have. Like, are you catching the ball? I'm at 8, but maybe I catch the ball at 7.5. You know, so these little adjustments, these punters are going to adjust to their long snappers, and hopefully you'll see everybody start to level out here with another good snap there
Yeah,
from
I
Garner.
mean, really, all we're looking for here is
There you
one,
go.
laces, but
Yep.
two, you want the ball in a location that the kicker sees the football
Yeah.
the entire time.
Yep. And being able to see it, catching it in front of you, giving them confidence when they catch it a little high and inside,
yeah.
which is not to sound hyperbolic, but probably the last place you'd want it as a holder. Maybe low and inside is worse, but inside you'd rather catch it out. And I think it is to rotate. That was a beautiful ball right there. Here we go, Bo Gardner. Ready to throw another one. A
Down.
little bit low.
Good hold.
Able to catch it, but maybe just a touch on the low side. That's a good one right there.
Good.
Now every punter likes to get their ball somewhere different. Some punters do like it low. I think there's certain coaches that teach you to catch it at about wrist height off the ground. So to each their own on how they like to hold it, but I think you're never going to be wrong throwing it to a punter at about their elbow height off the ground.
Good.
That's another good one. This guy's awesome. And Bryce Robinson on short snaps has been phenomenal. Bo has gone high, perfect, and then a touch low, and then back to
That's a good
perfect.
ball. Yeah. I think so far the most impressed I've been on shorts is Grimes. I think he throws
Grimes.
a very, very, very holdable
Yeah.
ball.
Grimes has looked really good. That ball right there looked pretty good. Let's see Grimes one more time. Just throwing pure. This laces
back.
back. So, yeah, and just kind of
I
keep
jinxed it.
right. And once again, just trying to like stay dialed in through all of this to just be perfect again and again and again is no tall is a pretty tall order. So
You know, we talk about what these guys are going to have to go through for an NFL workout. They might sit there and have them throw 15 balls in a row and see if
Yeah.
they can consistently throw the same catchable football.
yeah,
Great snap.
wow, that's awesome. There you go. So now we're gonna get them a little. Got a little bit of a blocking segment coming in here for the short snaps.
Really see
How-
how well they anchor.
Yeah. What would you describe a long snapper's blocking in short snaps?
When it comes to short snaps specifically, really what you're trying to do is just stay in the spot you are, take up some space. What you don't want is to get blown over and open up a gap.
So still important, but maybe a little bit less important than on punt, where you're pretty paramount to the punt success getting off.
I mean, nobody can line up directly over you, so really
Yeah.
what you're trying to do is just lean into pressure and
Yeah.
make sure you're closing that gap.
Okay, guys are wrapping up the first set here, and that is a
Beautiful.
pretty good round so far. So, as we're getting in the new set of guys here, that was a very impressive round. Let's get a quick rundown. One through 4 real quick.
Yeah, I think our MVP. I'm gonna go to Bogart.
Go Bo.
I mean, He threw like one field goal snap that you could have been critical and called
Yep.
it high, but overall pretty dang good.
And it was the best long snapper.
I think Garrison Grimes was the two. Bryce Robinson had a couple that were high. Throws a very clean ball. I think if he can
Yep.
clean that up, he's going to be a great guy in this draft class.
Yep.
Triplet didn't look bad. The ball just doesn't look as clean as the other
Yep.
guys, and obviously we're being picky when he's standing next to some of the top guys in this draft class.
But that's how he's going to be compared when they're got him on a draft board. So that is what it is. We're just trying to give you guys an accurate representation of what is probably going to be happening in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
Garrison Grimes, 15 perfect location, 15 perfect in protection. He had
One lace is back.
one laces back and one quarter turn.
Okay.
Spencer Triplet, he had 14 strikes, one at the face,
Yep.
14 feet that they graded perfectly, one laces back, everything else was perfect. We think that first one he caught the ball in the wrong spot, in our opinion.
Yep.
Okay. Bryce Robinson, he had 3 at the face, and then he had all perfect laces on his short snaps. Bo Gardner had perfect location, perfect protection, and then on laces he had one that was a quarter in for 2.5.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. And there you guys have it. So pretty reflective
Pretty
of
straightforward with our analysis.
right with what
it's
we
good.
were seeing. And now the next set of guys is getting warmed up and we're getting ready to go.
Duzansky.
This is not pre-recorded. This is live. Oh, sorry. Look. All right, next group of guys coming up.
Spot.
Smart man.
And in the fourth spot, East West Shrine and Combine invite from Penn State, Tyler
That's-
Stick.
Okay, our second Penn State man up here.
All right, quickly across the board here, going right to left, starting with Duzansky here. That is consensus probably 1B in this draft. Not a true 2, but should be pretty close to Bo Gardner. Hutton, I think there was a good ball, a guy that could get a shot. Shy coach out, great ball. And then Ben Mann's a guy that's really come into the picture here as of late. Athletic, big guy that supposedly throws a good ball. We'll see how he does here.
Yeah, there's another really good group of guys. I think that's one thing that you guys will see is that these are all guys that have a chance at the next level. We're not going to say all of them. Honestly, it's even hard to say if any one guy, because long snappers are a super contended spot in the NFL, but these are guys that have shots. And for those in the chat asking about the Dixon clips, the Dixon stuff should already be out from the last game. And thank you guys for all the kind words in the chat. Moving on, Tyler. That's going to be a rough one. Tyler Duzansky. And that is a good ball. So far, starting off, we have seen...
Quick analysis across the board. I think Hutton throws a very clean ball. Looks to be a little bit skinnier than a lot of these guys. Shy Kokov, I think is how you say it. Little bit of wiggle on his ball. Ben Mann, no real complaints there. Duzansky, I think, throws a very, very catchable ball and wicked athletic.
Yeah.
And when I say wicked athletic for a snapper, obviously, that just means he's decent enough to be more athletic than the rest of us.
Right. And for those who are probably going to notice something going on with the camera, that would be the lighting. We have the sun behind us. We've got something trying to block it out, but you're going to get a nice cinematic view of us in the booth here as we are talking about this. So now, Tyler coming through. Penn State, going to see how he blocks. Able to get back in there. It's a great ball.
So I talked about catchable. Duzansky's throwing in the right spot at right about a 7.5. A lot of times that's a lot better of a snap than a quicker ball that has a lot of variance to it.
Yeah, a big part of a punting operation is being able to catch it and just transition right into your steps. And the fact that it might be in that 0.75 range is still fast enough where a punter can almost step into that ball. If it starts coming back at like a 0.65, you can't step into it. You're almost recoiling back as you catch it. And this event is happening in a balmy Orlando, Florida. So Ben Mann, athletic-looking dude. That is a beautiful ball. Maybe a little bit less
slippage there on the
yeah.
feet. So
How
across
fast
the
was that
board,
one?
What I'm getting is about 6.970 all the way on the left. Coach Hobbs about a 7.2. Man's a 7.2. Duzansky's right around 7.4, 7.5.
7.5. Yeah, it does, and you can tell though for those looking at it. Shane just got thrown into the shadow realm by Duzansky.
High
That one
ball
comes
there.
in a little high. A little bit high right there.
So a little different in this group. I
Yeah.
think Kochov is the only one that's had a little bit of wiggle on his ball so
Yeah.
far. Everyone else looks to be throwing pretty clean.
Really
It's
tight
just
spirals.
a
Another little
bit.
wiggle.
Nothing crazy.
It's also worth noting that this group of punters is, I don't like using the word short, but significantly shorter than the previous. I mean, Doman and Nwosu were both 6'2" plus, and we have one 6-footer
Little
here.
wiggle there too.
Yeah, but you can see it just landed in Devin Bill's hands like butter. And yeah, it is a little bit warm. It's probably going to heat up as we go further on throughout the day. Getting a little technical difficulties here from the camera. Here we go.
Yeah,
We're
one
going to
thing to
restart the field cam real quick. Everybody, please just hold on with us. All right, and we are back. Apologize for the in a slight interruption here.
beautiful ball from Hutton.
That
One thing about
is,
Hutton is it looks like he's a little bit later into transition. Like
mhm,
the rusher is on him quick,
yeah.
which means he's probably getting his eyes up a little bit late and not
Yeah.
getting as much depth.
How
Same with Kochov,
yeah.
honestly.
How quickly do you need to get your eyes up as a long snapper? The general rule of thumb I've heard is when the ball's at about 8 yards, you need to have your eyes up.
Relatively speaking, and I think the one thing that's a little bit of a fallacy when it comes to snapping is people think eyes up is the cue. The reality of it is the guys that can move their feet
Hmm.
quickly are the ones that do well blocking. A lot of times, the eyes are going to follow where the feet takes them.
Okay, interesting. For a punter. Height is an important metric for a punter, but it's also important for the snapper who,
Good ball.
right now, if they throw a ball a little bit high to any of these guys, it probably would have been called a strike when you're throwing to a big 6 foot, 7 inch man like Gabriel Nwosu. So it is important for punting, and we'll get into more of the mechanics of punting later. But for snappers, while we're mentioning it, is just because they're easier targets. They're big. You can throw it to them. Anytime I go to a combine, people would always pick the tallest punter there to be the guy that they're aiming at. It's a little bit low right there coming through. Now, it is worth noting that all these guys are actually doing a good job of molding the ball. There have been punters that have hurt their long snappers because they throw them a ball at the hip and the punter will bend in half trying to catch it. But they've been doing a good job trying to stay upright and making their long snappers look good. And the long snappers are doing a good job making themselves look good too. So, moving on here. See his last snap there. Just a little bit of an arc on it, but it's a pretty ball.
7-5 again. That's
Yeah.
catchable.
Catchable, comes in nice and easy, and like I said, if he's got to step into it, that makes it much more manageable. So, of this second group here, what are we thinking? We got,
Let's start left to right here. I think
yeah,
Hutton throws a good ball. It's very clean. But the one kind of knock against him so far has been he just looks late getting back. Like he's
mhm,
kind of getting pushed back by the rusher.
yeah,
Obviously, a guy's holding the pad here, in tennis shoes. So when we look at Kochov, he throws a decent ball. He threw a couple out of the strike zone, a little bit of
mhm,
wiggle on it, but I think he's got the build to be very successful. And then as we get into man, decent ball. No
yeah,
true complaints there. I think he's a guy that he's probably going to show his athleticism at pro day, and
yeah,
that'll put him a bound ahead of some of these guys. And then Duzansky, obviously, like I said before, he's 1B, possibly 1A in this draft, kind of back and forth between him and Bo Gardner, but two very, very different snappers. Bo throws with very good velocity. Duzansky is he's going
has
to
a little more,
service a punter
little
very
more
well.
touch on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the ball's clean. It looks more like he's a finesse type snapper, shooting
yeah,
free throws, putting the ball in the right spot, and really
yeah.
giving his punter a chance to do well.
All right. Now, how much do you think weight is important in this? Because you can tell that there's a little bit of size difference between guys. You got some guys that are leaner. I honestly thought that
Yeah,
I thought that Hutton was a punter when he came out here because he's got that lean sort of look. How much do you think that's going to make a difference?
So when we take a look across the board, weight is probably the most important metric when it comes to snappers coming out. Obviously, height as well. You want a guy that's big enough to block. So when we take a look at most of these guys, like Duzansky's going to be a guy that's probably in the 240 to 250 range. Some of these other guys, I mean, their college NFL transition is can they gain the weight? When you talk about college punt protection schemes, a lot of times these guys are running down the field
Right.
immediately. So weight doesn't matter. They want to be fast. Whereas, these guys are now becoming more of an O lineman. So
Yeah.
weight's a very, very key metric.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things that the college system doesn't do well as far as becoming a feeder to the NFL is the long snapping position because they almost want two opposite things.
Yeah.
NFL is going to want a stocky guy who can get back and block. College is going to want a lean, fast guy who's going to be able to run downfield and cover. And covering in the NFL, while it is important, is probably the fifth most important thing you have to do as a long snapper.
Set 2 coming up here. First snap
Yep.
from Hutton. Like I mentioned before, he just looks a little bit late getting back there. Better feet there from Shy. And man's a guy I really need to pay attention to this set. I mean, he's like I mentioned, he's been in a lot more conversations as of late.
Really has a chance to show what he can do here. And guys like Man, I think, are the exact ones that are trying to really make a name for themselves. Slipped a little bit
Slight
there.
wiggle on the football.
Yeah.
One thing to watch.
Was that his
there-
second slip?
Yeah, one thing to watch with that is he didn't get a ton of separation off the
Yeah.
line, so he's more eating that rusher getting
Yeah.
back versus like if you watch Dusansky, he's gonna get to his spot very, very quickly.
Yeah. And also, he just makes it.
Yeah, I think the turf is
The turf also
short.
could be an issue here. Because
Brand
as much
new
as
turf here.
right, as much as we do love Shane, he is not a power rusher like they're going to be seeing in the NFL. Shane is the guy holding the pad. He is not going to be the one who are really blowing them back.
Big wiggle on that
Big wiggle, a little bit off base too, maybe to the like left side. One thing that I always, will notice is I think it was the double punt with Michael Dixon. That was a guy coming through the long snapper, Aaron Donald. So sometimes you're just going to have matchups that are going to be tough. There's really not much to it.
one. Not bad.
That was pretty
Slight
good.
little wiggle on it, but
Right.
correct spot.
Correct spot. And I think for this group, as we're progressing and this thing is continuing to go, you can see the wiggle is starting to pick up a little bit.
Pretty good
Good
snap
ball,
there.
good velocity.
It'll work.
Able to get back to his spot and get on the ball there. So, no, in the NFL and really for college, the snapper role is dedicated. So the long snapper, he's not going to be a tight end / long snapper.
Very clean.
He'll just be long snapping. So another good snap there.
One thing to take note of with this group, and we talked about this a little bit before, when you look at 1A, 1B, kind of the main group, that's a very clean ball
Good ball.
from Hutton.
Great ball.
You look at Dusansky, you look at Bo Gardner, you look at Bryce Robinson. There's a pretty big delineation between the way their snap looks versus some of these guys that are kind of working their way into the top 10 this year.
Yeah. It's just the same ball every time. The best thing you can be as a long snapper is just consistent and, obviously good, but the more, having that threshold of how good you are and then just being able to hit that every single time is paramount to your success in the league. The special teams way of thinking is you want to blend into the background. You want to be a guy that your fans kind of forget about, And then the next thing they know, they're checking who's our longest tenured player, and they're like, oh, it's our long snapper's been here for 15 years. We didn't even realize. And snaps like that we just saw from Dusansky is going to be how you do that. It's how you just want to snap like that 100 times, never let a guy back through to the punter, and keep cashing in the game day checks and for
I think
15 to 20
Dusansky
years.
is a great picture of what it looks like to be a guy that he could play 15 years in the league and nobody would ever know who he is.
Right.
Because there's nothing about it that you're going to be, wowed by, but it is the absolute perfect snap for a punter.
Yeah. And that's kind of the role of long snapping is it's sort of a thankless role. Long snappers are rarely going to wow guys. I mean, every now and then you'll get guys like the Jaguars long snapper
I left on there.
Yeah.
Ross Matisic.
Yeah,
makes a
Matisic,
good bit of tackles.
who makes tackles. He made a strip tackle and then recovered his own fumble. Every now and then you'll see some plays like that, but honestly, if he was making plays like that but wasn't throwing a clean ball, he wouldn't have a job. So the
Big
good news is
wiggle
he does
on
throw
that
a
one.
good ball.
Some of these guys, like I mentioned before, when we start talking about the transition to blocking, they just don't finish their snap because they're rushing
Yeah.
to get up. And that's where you see that wiggle come from. You
Right.
watch Dusansky, the ball is clean every single time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been no complaints so far.
Ball's clean. Always has a good rush.
I mean, you can't get better than that.
Right.
Honestly. Right on the right hip, clean rotation. Marshall Nichols is back here catching. I guarantee he would love to have that snap every time.
Right. Yeah, Marshall Nichols is in Candyland. He is enjoying everything around him. Everything is great. Some of these other punters are having to catch
It's a
still good
ball there
balls.
from
That's a
Hutton.
great one.
Yeah, but
But,
you
more
watch his
wobbles.
feet getting behind him once
Yep.
he's at 5 yards. You're getting pushed back a little bit there.
Yep. Here, a little wiggle again. Maybe close to being a hair low there, but that might have been more of the catch that brought that nose down. Okay.
Great
That
ball.
is a
Great
beautiful ball. That ball is harkens back a little bit to the previous set. The last guy who kind of had that the nose didn't just like drive straight back. It's like that one is just
Dude,
perfect
you can't get
every
any
time.
better than that.
Every time.
Duzansky looks very,
Yeah.
very good.
Now is Duzansky a special teams you guy?
No,
No,
no.
just a great guy. Just good. His ball just looks
I
very
wanna
similar
say,
to
and
some
I
of those.
could be wrong here. We can ask when we're done. I want to say he was a Rubio guy.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful ball.
that was
from
another
Hutton.
great
So,
ball. Hutton's locking back in here.
as we're finishing up here, kind of getting some mental notes of what each guy's looked like so far.
Yeah. You can see guys kind of locking back in for the last couple of punts. It's those middle
Little
few
wiggle,
when you
just
start
tight.
off strong where you kind of will lose it in the middle, but like people are picking back up now and going strong. So let's see if they continue to just build on this. There, that's a
Lot of
good
wiggle
ball,
there.
but still a lot of wiggle. Something about that third spot has been just
It's been
where
tough.
it's
It's been tough so far. All right,
So-
last snap here from Duzansky's been relatively perfect.
right. And then they have to go on to short snaps, and he's going to get that is probably just money.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of guys here that are throwing quote unquote strikes. His strike zone is like 3 inches. I mean, he didn't miss.
He didn't. Yeah, he hit the
didn't
exact same spot every single time. Duzansky looked money.
Most catchable ball too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think 7.5 is the slowest, but like he's not missing.
Fastest time you got 6'9", Bo? 6'07",
Yeah.
6'9",
Yeah.
6'9", 7'0".
Bo was very much quickest. So taking a look at that group there, Hutton I think
Yep.
did decent. There was a couple balls he threw that had a slight wiggle on it. We talked about he gets his feet behind him later, which is something he can work on. Kochov, I think there was nothing too bad or too good, about his set. I think he threw a relatively good ball.
Yep.
A little bit of wiggle on a couple. He threw one at the knee, but other than that, no complaints there. Man, it seemed like every few balls he threw one with a slight wiggle. Very athletic guy. And like we mentioned, Duzansky, that's probably the best set we've seen all day.
Yeah. It was just super pure, super clean, looked super catchable. It looked fun to punt that ball.
Yeah,
you know?
when I talked about he didn't miss, he didn't throw to the wrong hip.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
That was good. So right now we're about to cut back to the event as they are going to be moving on to short snaps here. So pretty good group. I would say comparing this group to the last group, probably a little bit less velocity on this one, but
Yeah, definitely
still
a little bit of delineation, like I
Yeah.
said, from the top couple guys to this group. Obviously, take Duzansky out of that. He looked incredible, but let's see laces here.
Yep.
It looks like high laces back from
yeah,
Hutton.
laces back right there.
Good.
Good. That was a very clean looking short snap right there. And one thing that I like to listen to is just how does it hit the punter's hands? Like some guys it kind of slaps. You just want to hear like that soft just thud, you know?
Punter there with the laces.
Yep.
Good
That is good.
Good.
So he's continuing a strong showing. So assuming he has a strong showing here, which we have no reason to believe he wouldn't, that would be the best performance of the day. Another great snap there.
Let's see, who's this? This is Kochov.
Kochov.
Good.
These guys are pretty dialed in on their short snaps right now, which is good to see. A little bit more wobble on that one too. The wiggle did continue.
Yeah, the
on
one
that
thing with most of these guys is I think this group throws short snaps with a very good velocity. A lot of
Yeah.
times, guys throw a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, for some of you guys that haven't been around this, you'd probably think you want a fast snap so the operation time could be good. That's quarter in on the punter there.
Yeah,
But
it's a little bit of
catchable and holdable football is the biggest key to short snaps. Rotation, location. That's all it is.
yeah, velocity. As long as it doesn't, as you're not throwing them like a soft lob, you're almost anybody's going to be able to get a decent velocity at this level. But it's being able to throw it, like you said, with a good rotation, good location, make the whole thing just operate seamlessly. A
Little wiggle there.
little low, but still playable. I think as a long snapper, if you're going to miss on short snaps, you want to miss low.
Yeah.
Because at worst case scenario, you're going to be able to pin it. And yeah, all of these guys are in their senior year, already out, already declared for the draft. So you're going to see some of these guys at the combine if they end up streaming the combine.
In.
And if not, you're going to see at least a couple of these guys on draft day.
See if Duzansky could put a better snap up here.
Yep, just get it up a couple inches. That's perfect.
Yep, that'll work.
Yet has not had bad laces at all so far. So even the one that was, once again, only a couple inches too low.
Definitely a handleable ball.
Yeah.
If that's a word.
Playable. Definitely a playable ball.
I think we mentioned that miss down is probably a better ball to hold than a miss high.
Yeah.
And the kicker's going to see that ball all the way through.
Right. Well, missing high, if you pull the eyes of the kicker up,
Great snap.
even if he makes it, he's going to complain to you about it. But kickers will complain about anything, so.
Great snap.
Another good one. Wow. Wow. And I
Laces
believe after
in on the punter there, but still a very easy snap to hold.
Yeah. And of course, if you're going to, miss on the late, he's facing a little bit towards the punter. So as he's putting it down, it's really easy to just turn that ball and then just set it. Another going lace. Yeah, quarter out a hair, but I'm being a little lenient with this. Yeah. Another great snap. This has been a great group for the short snap. Let's see if he can finish a perfect day here for Duzinski.
A little wiggle.
And a little wiggle, but perfect. Wow. What a freaking day right there from Duzinski. That is a phenomenal showing so far. And we have one more group that's coming out here. Is this another full set of 4?
Yeah, another set of 4 across the board. Taking a look at that group, I would give Hutton probably a B minus. I think he threw the ball with a little bit of wiggle, missed a couple spots. I think when you take a look at Kochov, probably a B plus. He did pretty well. Ben Mann looked pretty athletic, and Duzansky, it's probably the best round we've seen all day.
Okay, so we're about to hear the stats.
Mason Hutton threw one ball at the face, but all strikes, and they had phenomenal things to say about his footwork. Okay, he threw 2 balls that were a true quarter in, but would not affect any NFL operation, but everything else with perfect laces.
Yep.
Okay, Tyler Duzansky threw all strength snaps, and all threes and everything there. Spencer Triplett, no, that was Ben Mann, Ben Mann threw 1 ball at the right shoulder, which we gave a 2.75 to. Everything else was perfect, and he threw 1 quarter in. Everything else was perfect laces. And I'm sure you guys saw how athletic he was. Shai Kochav threw all threes on short snaps, all laces. He had 1 at the knee, and everything else was a perfect strike. Is that everybody? Yes, that is.
All right, you heard it here first, guys.
Our next round.
ECU. Yeah, I like some sleepers. Yep. Okay, sweet.
So taking a look across the board, Kristen O'Brien's a guy that I've trained. I've been around for a long time. Cleveland kid. Definitely a sleeper in this draft. Super athletic. He's a guy that went to Cincinnati as a walk-on, ended up transferring to Indiana State so that he could play, and then ended up at East Carolina. I think he's a very, very good snapper. Mark Langston, Indiana guy here in the middle. Probably throws one of the faster balls in college football. A little bit of an undersized guy, but I think he makes up for it with his skill level here. And then we talked about from Illinois, which I'm going to have to look at my sheet here, which I feel bad for, Lane Hansen. A late fill-in guy, got the call last night to come up to the showcase here, and he looks ready to go. I mean,
everybody's so far
12-hour notice. Here we are.
All right, everybody so far just watching the warm-ups right now has looked pretty good, and looks like we're about to get underway, so we're gonna cut back over and just kind of see what these guys can do in comparison. So this is the last group of the day. We do have a slightly smaller school here in ECU, so showing he can hang with the big dogs. That's what we want to see. These guys, notably, I think it's worth noting, seem to all be under 6 foot. How big of a deal is that?
Tristan O'Brien might be 6'1" or 6'2".
Okay.
Tristan O'Brien, probably one of the stronger guys in this group.
Yeah.
I want to say he's close to 240 in weight.
Yeah.
So he fits the build. I just think
Yeah.
he's a guy that is a small
little
school
slip
guy
up.
that is getting some notoriety because look
And
at that
that is
football
a
right there.
ball right there. And that's a
Clean.
way to come out the gate and show everybody that you're about business. Looked pretty fast too. So
Mark Langston here from
Langston,
Indiana.
watching him warm up, he had a little bit of a wiggle. Let's see if he can tighten it up a hair.
Heavy wiggle on that one, but
pretty wiggly there.
some speed.
Definitely
fast
getting
football.
back there fast. Now it's worth noting that I think as a punter, the combination of speed and wiggle makes it a little bit harder to catch. That was a good ball.
Pretty good ball
That
there
was a
from
very
Hansen.
Yeah, very fast ball. Comes in nose up to, which I like. I think every punter likes it to kind of just float up to you.
High ball there.
A little bit high.
Tristan.
And Caden Noonkisser, for those at home wondering, is a mammoth. He is giant. So, having a little bit high there on a slightly smaller punter, if there even is a smaller punter in the NFL anymore, would be that much higher.
Heavy wiggle
Very wiggly right there. As you can see.
Mark is a guy that is pretty athletic. I think he
Mm.
gets back and do a good set. Obviously, we talked about a little wiggle. If he can clean
Yeah.
that up, he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Hansen here, that's a beautiful
Wow,
ball.
that's a
I've been
beautiful
pretty
ball.
surprised so far. He
Yeah.
is the wild card here, to
Oh.
say the least.
Yeah, coming in at the 12th hour and just throwing pearls. All right, Tristan coming back up. Let's see what he's got. Zips and
Just got to get dialed in here. He's a
Just-
guy that when he gets
yeah.
dialed in, he is very, very, very.
right. You get maybe 2 not dialed in punts though. Well, you got to see him start bringing these down after this. Very fast.
It's a 6'8",
6'8".
right on the hip. We talked about a little bit of wiggle there,
Yeah.
but that's a very good snap still.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we're nitpicking because if you guys have seen,
Clean.
everything looks good. There's not anybody here that looks bad. Even the guys that we rag on the most is just because everybody else happens to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's not, and that's just
We're
the
talking
name
about
of the
the
game.
elite of the elite here.
Right.
It is the NFL. That's a
Right.
beautiful ball.
Beautiful
from
ball.
Tristan.
Once again, he had to dip a little bit for it, but that's a really tall guy right there. And I think most guys are able to catch that pretty cleanly.
Talked about a catchable football.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
That was a big, very catchable. And even the high ones are pretty catchable there.
Great spot
Another
there
good
from
ball.
Mark.
And he's been hitting his spots pretty well.
I think he's a very accurate and throws
Yeah.
a very good ball, but you got to remember too, a lot of these guys have been training with the NFL football now
Yeah.
for a couple months. Mark Langston played the national championship game a few weeks
Weeks
ago.
ago, right,
You know?
yeah.
So this is all a little bit later of a transition for him. I
Yep.
think he's got a later pro day, so pretty confident that he can clean things up.
Yeah.
Good ball.
And that
from
is
Tristan
that is
there.
a good point. The national championship did just happen, and a lot of these other teams have not been in it.
And I know that sounds like a bit of a stretch for some of you guys, but throwing an Adidas dime versus an NFL Duke is not the same thing
Yeah.
by any means.
Too, it's like it's thicker at the top. The Duke is, and you can just feel differently in your hands.
A little low
Little
there,
low
from
there,
Langston,
right
but
at
that
the
looked
knee.
cleaner.
Yeah,
Spin didn't
really
look
tight
bad on
spiral.
that.
Okay.
We talked about Tristan O'Brien being the sleeper, but this Lane
Lane
guy
kid
has been
been
pretty
pretty good.
impressive. He did just slip there. The
Yeah.
turf is short, but
But that's been a couple guys now to this point, so we're starting to see it's not a one man problem. It's been hard to keep your foot
yeah.
in here.
So new turf, and this is the turf that Indianapolis Colts were the first ones to have it. It's got like a coconut husk in it.
Coconut, yeah. That
It's-
was a beautiful ball right there.
It's not great. At Indianapolis Colts local day, they tried to run 5-10-5s on it.
Mm.
Nobody could cut. So I'm not sure this is an athleticism issue by any means. I think it's footwear.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, we haven't seen guys.
6'6" on the
6'6",
hip, a
yeah.
little bit of wiggle there for Langston.
He is throwing heat right now. And it's worth noting, we haven't seen guys look athletic. We see guys with 12 cleats in the ground 12 pegs in the ground just sliding.
slipping.
So
Yeah, it's
that's not
tough.
something that we see very often at all.
Strike,
Whoa.
get set.
Wow, what a
You wanna
ball.
see it?
Yeah.
It is actually coconut shavings. That's why.
Yeah.
It is
I told ya.
coconut shavings here.
Indianapolis Colts turf here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, having a little bit of problem on it. Shouldn't be as much of an issue for kicking and punting. I think last year we didn't see any slips, but just with long snappers, when you have another force pushing against you, you're more likely to see something like that happen.
Sounds like a wicked excuse for some of these guys,
Right.
but the reality of the situation is this is a newer tech turf
Yeah.
that they're trying to eliminate some of the cancer issues that have come from the rubber.
Mm.
And we've seen, I mean, every group is
Yeah.
slipping. Every group.
Everybody's-
slipping.
yeah,
It's not
everybody's
like
had
it's an
slips.
athleticism issue by any
Yeah.
means.
Yeah.
But yeah, taking a look at this group so far, O'Brien threw a couple balls high, but he throws a very clean football. I think he's a very athletic snapper. Langston throws absolute heaters.
He's just missiles.
A little bit of wiggle, but like we mentioned, he's still pretty raw when it comes to throwing with this football. Only a couple weeks since the national championship game, and then Hansen, that was our wild card, man.
And he's been throwing.
He wasn't even here last night.
Right. Didn't have a chance to talk to him. Didn't have a chance to meet him, but he's been throwing gas, and I think it's going to continue. Now we got the left snaps. We're going to see these guys take a quick little break before they get back into it. So sometimes the reset is good for guys. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes like it's good for guys to be able to get into a rhythm and just kind of keep snapping. So breaking up that monotony can be something that helps or hurts people, as we've seen it go both ways. But let's see now what we start off with.
A little wiggle there, outside right.
Outside to the right. Now, how much does knowing that you have to drop back to block a certain direction affect? Like, if you know when you're going back to the left, is it possible to release later?
That was a great football there for
perfect
Tristan
one.
O'Brien. So the one thing that I think is a little bit unrealistic about events like this is when you talk about blocking, very rarely in an NFL set are you going to be able to go up to the time exactly where you're setting.
Right.
Guys are going to move around. They might change the call a couple
Do a
times.
twist. Good ball. Perfect ball right there.
Good spot there from Langston.
Yeah, and obviously there's going to be like twists and there's going to be all sorts of things, and they'd like to attack the A gaps specifically because the long snapper, they know, is going to have his head down for some portion of it. So you can get some confusion there.
High ball there.
A little bit high.
That's it. So
for those
this is a little bit rudimentary for most of these guys, but obviously this is their first real taste of snapping and blocking.
Yeah.
Most of these guys did not block in college.
Right. And punters are going to be after this. We're going to have live ops on the punting, and that is going to be immediately after this. If I had to spitball, probably close to 10:45 to 11 as we're going to transition over to punters. So there we go. Keeping it strong. Really wobbly on that one. I don't know how much it's showing up on the camera for you guys to see, but it was a pretty wiggly one. But once again,
it's a good spot.
Yeah,
it's a good speed.
Great spot, great speed.
I think if he can clean up the rotation, he's a very good snapper.
And it's also worth noting that
great ball there.
That's a perfect ball right there. It's worth noting that he's doing so much right that it's like almost all we can talk about is the fact that there's a little bit of a wiggle. The spot has been perfect about every time. I think he had one slightly high snap.
Great ball there. So just taking a look, I don't know if you guys can see that on camera, but that's probably one of the cleaner balls we've seen all day from O'Brien. He throws a very catchable football, and not that any of these guys don't, but we mentioned that transition to the NFL football. Some guys struggle to find that clean rotation a little bit.
Yep.
It's right at the top of the chest there.
Just inside the strike zone.
But speed is very
Speed is definitely there. That is not an issue. No one has to worry about him throwing the ball too slow, that's for sure.
High ball there.
A little bit high again.
7-0.
But catchable, playable. But like I said, we're just nitpicking because we're pairing the best against the best.
Yeah,
so
when we talk about what makes an NFL snapper, your margin for error gets very low, right? You're expected to be relatively perfect at all
like
times.
That. Just like that. That was
if
a money
you can throw
ball.
That ball every time, you'll be an NFL snapper. It doesn't matter who you are.
Right. All right. Everyone, we have to restart the camera. Give us 2 seconds.
Keep you guys in the loop here. Mark Langston. A little bit of wiggle, but that's a .65 at the chest. I mean, that's an absolute heater. He throws probably one of the faster balls out of the group we've seen here today.
Yeah.
And he does a good job as well of getting his eyes up and getting his feet back. Like he puts himself in good positions. Which, like I mentioned, he's still raw.
Yeah.
There are guys that have been doing this now for 2 months.
Mm.
He's a few weeks into it, and I think his transition to blocking looks a lot better than most of these guys.
Yeah,
Great ball
absolutely.
from O'Brien.
That was
6'7" right
he
on the
is he is finishing out really strong here. So talk about a wild card. I mean, the rotation on him has been perfect. How's the blocking look from O'Brien? It's been
tip. I think he looks athletic.
Yeah.
I think he's maybe not the fastest guy of the group, but clean footwork. Heavy
Yeah.
wiggle on that,
Really
but I'm getting
perfect
6'3" on
location.
that one right
Whoa.
at the hip.
Whoa.
Yeah, that could
Whoa.
be me timing it
Yeah.
quick, but it's quick enough where it's hard
Yeah.
to time.
Exactly.
So you talk about if you get a coordinator that is a guy that is worried about punts getting blocked,
Yeah.
a guy that throws at Langston's speed
Yeah.
is going to be a good fit for him.
Yeah. It has honestly been just a pretty impressive showing from these three guys. I think you kind of get to the end of the day, you've already
Yeah.
seen who you think your 1A, 1B guys are, and then these guys have to come in and make a name for themselves out of nothing, and they're doing a pretty good job of it.
Here's the thing about this group: these aren't guys that have been combine invites or all-star
Yeah.
games, but they all look pretty darn good. I mean, there
Yeah.
hasn't been any egregious snaps so far from this
Right.
group.
And I think that just goes to show why it's so hard to get into the NFL as a long snapper, because there's also already 32 guys in here that are going to throw balls not too unlike what we're currently seeing, right? So being able to differentiate yourself, that one's a
Outside,
little
right,
bit
a little bit.
outside on the right. Being able to differentiate yourself amongst those guys is just going to be a tall thing to have to do.
Are we throwing to the punters here?
I
coming up?
believe they are. They've got landmarks for the punters, and they've got landmarks for the
For the punter stream, I'll stick around in time for you,
okay,
so we can get
perfect.
some hangs that are at least
Accurate.
relatively
Yeah.
accurate. I think they are going to get the TrackMan out, but I do not see it yet.
I think the TrackMan is back behind our field division. I think it's all the way back there. But it also might not be. I don't see Zendejas.
We got Zendejas from AZ kicking,
Right,
there
from
with
AZ
TrackMan,
kicking.
as well as Grant McInnes from
Right.
Combine Kicking in Indianapolis, Indiana, here with TrackMan.
Yeah.
So usually Simon Matheson from the TrackMan crew is here, but he was servicing the Super Bowl this week.
Right. So pretty important for him to probably be there, I would say.
Can't complain too much
Can't-
that he's not here. A little bit of an important job for him.
Yeah. So these guys are getting warmed up with the short snaps here, and we're going to cut back to them here in a couple seconds. But for everybody that's here, well, thank you for watching. And let's watch some more short snaps. We're almost out of the long snapping position. I know.
Yeah, the most exciting thing in football here, short snaps.
Right. So I know that it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but we will be on to punting, and we're watching balls soar.
Punters coming up here. Let me run through them real quickly
Yeah.
for you. You've got Ryan Eckley, Tommy Doman, Jeff Yerk, Devin Bale, Aiden Laros, Keelan Crimmins, Caleb Junko, Ben DeQuilla, Caden, Noon Keister, Gabe Nwosu, and Marshall Nichols. So a
Yeah.
lot of the top guys in this
Yeah.
year's draft.
Big names here.
Big group.
Tall group.
Yeah.
Very tall. Tall
Mark
group of
Langston
punters.
here. Good. He throws very, very clean short snaps. So
Yeah.
I think there's just a little bit of a learning curve for him. I mentioned he's still, getting kind of his
Yeah.
feet under him when it comes to NFL football here.
Yeah. But right there,
Little wiggle.
little bit of wiggle, quarter turn. And it's
Tristan
all
O'Brien.
about being able to,
Great ball there.
yeah, all about being able to just be consistent, ball to ball, stay in it, and even if you have a bad one, that's going to happen.
great
But that's a
snap from
perfect one right
Langston.
there.
I think Langston is probably one of the cleaner short snap throwers here today.
That was a very, very dialed in short snap. Soft, but not slow, catchable.
And that's one thing, obviously, I know as an Indiana guy a little bit about Langston. He's improved a ton upon his shorts in the past year or so. I mean, he has gotten very, very good, very, very dialed in. That kicking operation this year for Indiana was incredible.
Yeah, it definitely has. Was a huge part, maybe a more subtle part of their entire
Laces
performance.
back.
more subtle part of Indiana's performance was just how quietly good their operation on field goals and punts were. You never had anything that went bad. I think
Good stuff.
uh, last year, I think they had a punt slip or something, I believe, and ended up being an important part of a game that they lost. So seeing everything go smooth this year was good for them, and he was an important part of it.
Lace back.
Laces back and down. Punter's already beginning to warm up in the background there. So let's see. Couple more short snaps. It's a good one. Let's see if these guys can finish off strong. It's been a really impressive short snap showing, or a really impressive long snapper showing in general today. So lots of really good guys that, coming in this had a chance to make a name for themselves, and I think have done a pretty good job. Sorry, folks, trying not to get distracted by the punts that are happening in the background. That is a good ball right
Good
there.
right there.
Really, really good. Really good set. There we go.
Good.
Seems like another good one right there. A lot of velocity on that one, and here comes the last snap, guys.
Punter's getting warmed up in the background
Right.
here.
3 points there. Good on that snap. Let's see what happens on this one.
Great
That
snap.
is perfect. That is money right there. All right, and last but not least, this group has been really impressive. They came out, they threw the ball really well. They had a lot of velocity.
Good.
And they ended off strong. That is.
So let's go through this group real quick before
Yeah.
we get into punting. I think Tristan O'Brien struggled earlier, threw a couple balls high, but he threw very, very clean football. I think he's a guy that's a little bit of a sleeper in this draft. Very athletic. Mark Langston, we mentioned, throws just an absolute heater.
Yeah.
Did not really miss location-wise. A little bit of wiggle on the ball,
Yeah.
but it's something you can clean up. It's very rare that you get a guy that's that fast and that accurate.
Yep.
He's short back, but other than that, I think he looks pretty dialed in for playing 18 weeks of football or whatever they played.
All right.
And then this Hanson kid,
pretty impressive.
our sleeper coming in today,
Our
showed up
sleeper
this
coming in.
morning, and he looked pretty good.
All right, so now long snappers are about to go get warmed up with their punters. Punters are warming up as is. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to be right back with maybe the thing that I'm most excited about, the punting portion. So we will see you guys here in a couple minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we are about to be back here. The punters have been warming up. Everybody's looking good. There's actually not going to be long snaps. Everything's going to be tossed. So I am pretty excited, guys. Punts have been flying. Bombs have been dropping. You would think this is World War II. All right, but it's not. It is once again Orlando, Florida, and we are getting ready for a big, big day. So let's see what we have going on here. We've got a bunch of really good and talented punters, right? We've got from Caden Noonkester to Ryan Eckley, Tommy Doman, Jeff Yerk. Balls are going to be going. Devin Bale, Aiden LaRosse, Keelan Crimmins, Caleb Junko, Ben DeAquila, Caden Noonkester, Gabe Nwosu, Marshall Nichols. Guys, when I say this is stacked, you guys saw my top 5 list on YouTube. There is a bunch of the guys that are
Do have snappers warming up there.
all over that. The snappers are ended up warming up.
Yeah.
All right, so they might have long snaps. That is a line drive, a missile. So you're just kind of, oh yeah, my bad. So guys are continuing to get warmed up here, and you're just going to see some of that. The guys that I'm really excited for from this group right now, obviously, Tommy Doman has just a hammer of a leg. He's a guy who played at Florida. He had a lot of really big punts, and it's going to be awesome to see what he's able to do here. Kind of the X factor for me is Gabe Nwosu. So Gabe is a giant individual. He has a huge leg, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does on this stage. I don't know if he handled all of the punting duties. I know he handled some of them last year at Penn State, but watching him warm up is pretty impressive. We can't lie. I can't lie to you. I won't lie to you. It's been very impressive seeing how he warms up and how he strikes the ball. So him being able to translate that further. Ryan Eckley, I've heard nothing but good things about. He has a cannon of a leg. Jeff Yerk will be a guy that'll be very interesting to see. Directionally, he's looked awesome. The ball kind of shoots off his foot at a less steep of an angle as it does for some of these other guys, but he gets it downfield. There's no doubt about that. So we're seeing if he can do that consistently enough to turn the tide in his favor. We'd like to see him break a couple 5-0s today. We'd like to see everybody break a couple 5-0s today, but right now we are just seeing what they're going to be able to do on a day-to-day basis. Another guy that I think will be a little bit of an X factor, a guy I haven't seen too much of his own film of, is Ben DeAquila. I'm excited to see what he's able to do on the stage today. Lots of talented punters here. And I was under the impression we were a little bit closer to starting, but it looks like any second now, these guys are going to get ready to rock and roll. So big punts already flying in, and it should clear out a little bit so you guys will get a much easier view of who is about to punt when they're actually at the live portion of this. But right now we're just kind of settling you into the scene for those who need a temperature and weather update. It is about, I would say, 75 degrees, light wind if any, and when it does pick up, it's going to be at the punters' backs. So you should expect just gorgeous conditions. The wind is not going to affect the ball noticeably at all, even though it is slightly favorable. If anything, it's just going to give them a little bit more confidence. Charlie Brown. So, and I believe the order that they're going to go is they're going to go 3 punts, 3 punts to the right. All right, here we go. I believe we might be starting here. So out first is Marshall Nichols. Okay, so we're not starting yet. I heard them yell something. I thought they were getting ready to go, but I think he's maybe just giving them the countdown that things are about to begin. But so far, very impressive looking warm-ups. Guys, right now, we are kind of getting to that point where everybody's hit a lot of footballs. This Gabriel Nwosu you see on your screen right there, and how he just stands out in his height. Massive compared to some of these other guys, right? Just huge. In a different light, his kick steps and getting ready to go block some of the league's best defensive linemen. But instead, in our timeline, arguably the more fun timeline, he's getting ready to kick a football. So, love that for us. I'm glad we get to experience that firsthand. Wow. So, people's looking good. We're getting ready to warm up. are getting ready to get this thing kicked off. I think people are going to start selecting their own balls soon, and then we'll be rocking and rolling here anytime in the next couple of minutes. If this drags on for a couple more minutes where it looks like we're not starting, I might throw you guys on a be right back screen, but we seem pretty close to being able to get this thing kicked off. Yeah. So right now, warming up, guys, I've been really impressed with is I've seen some good stuff out of Nwosu. Junko has looked pretty solid. Devin Bale looks good. Marshall Nichols just hit a good ball. So let's just see if they keep it going. Long snappers have warmed up. Punters look like they're warm. The only people that aren't warm are me in the shade. Oh, whoa, that is a moonshot. Okay, there seems to be some confusion. I'm going to put you guys on a be right back screen, and we'll be right back when people are actually punting live. All right, it looks like we're getting a little bit closer to actually starting here, so guys are getting their, I guess, final warm-ups here. We've had a nice 10 to 15 minutes of warming up. It looks like we're getting ready to start off with that is Jeff Yerk and Tommy Doman who are up first. So two really talented punters, and it's good that they get a little bit of comparison to each other. You see, Jeff, known for hitting like more of a driven ball, had a very good average for his 4 years at Elon. Tommy Doman, also a good average, but knows for hitting. He hits a little bit more of that high arcing ball. So having them next to each other should be a great introduction to higher level punters. Now, somebody did ask, do I have a favorite punter? They said that their punter was McAfee. And yeah, I think I got a favorite punter. Probably Logan Cook currently. But Jeff Yerk coming out to punt. Now, Jeff, known to be very directionally sound, hits just a pretty spiral, a little bit nose up there, and it's going to wobble, but you're going to see it's still going to get some decent distance. Looks like right at 45, 4-3. So 45, 4-3, that's, you know, a little bit low, kind of down the middle. So kind of getting the jitters out right. There's no small task to be the first guy up. So let's see if he can kind of just bounce back from this. This kind of stuff is going to happen. So Jeff Yerk sets it kind of the same ball, but this one's going to be a little shorter, looking like it's going to be 36 to 37 and right at 4-0. So nobody wants to be the first guy. You want him just to stay within himself, try to come back from this kick here, right? Start off how he wants, but if you finish strong, right, everyone's going to hit. There you go. It's got a nice little wiggle on it. So unlike long snapping, you want the wiggle perfect direction. I got 498, 53 yards. 498. They got an unofficial 507. probably splitting the difference. You can see the wiggle, really good height here. So now Tommy gets really good height on his ball. As you can see right there, that was a really clean looking drop. So coming from Michigan, has had some experience in the cold weather, but that is not what we're experiencing today. He's from right up the road in Florida. Just catches a little too far forward on that ball. Going to come down short right at 30 yards. You said 5'3"? Oh, so 4.53, 30 yards. Came down a little short, but, you know, really explosive leg. We're going to see what he's able to do on his next punt, right? Getting the jitters out. Drives that one a little bit more. Good direction. Going to land past 50, probably 54, 4.52. Yeah, we got 4.57, somewhere like that. So let's see his third ball here, going directional right. There it is. Just a high, wiggling, waggling down, going to be about 46, and right at 5.1. So we're getting a 5.1 over here in the booth. They're getting a 5.2 over there. But we got an unofficial 5.1. So at the end of the day, way back in the back, we do have Trackman back there, so we will get more official times here at the end. But now we're going directional left. This is where sometimes, the bigger leg punters, I would say, sometimes do a little bit better directional left because they kind of can just drop it inside and just swing, while more directionally sound driver punters sometimes tend to struggle when it comes to going left. So right there, inside, just outside the hash, 368.42. So a little bit lower than what you'd want to see. That's one that, Jeff is going to kick, and then he's immediately going to have to go cover. That's the name of the game. You're hitting a ball like that to Kavonte Turpin, you're going to have a bad day, but you're going to have a great day hitting a ball like that. My goodness. 58, 59 yards and a 5.13. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we came here to see. Huge ball. Massive ball. Let's see if he can continue. Let's continue to see if he can build off that. It's another good ball. A little wiggle, but good direction. Couple yards outside the numbers, 4.78 and 49 yards. Very playable. So really, really good recovery right there. And that's what you want to see. Not every ball is going to be perfect, right? So seeing a guy be able to adjust and bounce back and come back with a couple of really good balls is perfect. Okay, Tommy Doman coming back up, going directional left. He's going to find his line here real quick, get one little practice toss, and then he's going to get right into it. All right. He's had some really impressive balls in college. Most of them, I believe, were to the right, but I think to the left we can still see some good golly ones, and that is going to be in it. It's going to be right 4.75, 46-yard punt. But that one's not going to be returned. It's going to be fair caught. It might even be let go because it's so close to the sideline. Great way to start. If that was the way that he kind of gets the jitters out for the directional lefts, that is a great showing. And then here's him just opening up. This one is down the middle for the most part, right at 49 and about a 4.5. So 4.5, 49-yard punt is solid. It's playable, albeit, compared to some of the punts that Jeff was hitting, maybe not the most impressive, but this one is the most impressive. Goodness gracious, going to be 52. Imagine 4.93. Okay, so
Checking that.
another really good ball there. That's a great opening set. And now they're going to go open field. So all that means is that they're going to be just wide open. They're going to just kick the ball as far as they want to kick it and give these guys an opportunity. Mm, mm. Which is a weird thing to say when one ball did land in the middle of the field going left, but still a playable ball. But no, everybody was not perfect going left, which is fine. All right. Moving on. So now these are open fields. So we're going just hang them high, kick them far. This one is definitely far. It might not be as high as ball, but it's going to be plus 50. I got a 466 on that one. 53, 466. That's fine, right? We would want to see it maybe a little higher, maybe a little further, but that's definitely not a bad ball as far as open field punting is concerned. You really want to see somebody show off their top end when if an NFL coach, takes the reins off and just says, go crazy, you want to see that sucker go. This one's going to be a little bit lower than the last one, 456 and about 50 again, 47 yards, and I got a 456. So not bad kicks by any stretch of the imagination, maybe a hair on the low side, but now he's got one more open field. Let's see if he can lock in here. And this one's going to be kind of a wobbler. It is going to get past 40, a little bit outside the numbers, going to be about a 42, and I missed the time because I was just watching the ball, but 43-yard punt with roughly about 4.5. That does track with what I saw. So Tommy Doman's up now. Excited to see him really open up here. I think going directionally, it looked like he was a little reserved, a little just trying to hit a ball. So now I'll be interested to see him explode one. So he's got the Georgia snapper who throws a very catchable ball here. And it's worth noting also on open field punts, these are with the snapper. So should be a pretty realistic look for what they will be able to do. Low snap there, he's going to throw that one back. Georgia snapper's first ball. So of the day, or not of the day, but of this session. So he's going to throw it back and get him a good one here. And let's see what he does. You want to see these guys just kind of, just relax into the kick and just open up on it. And this one's going to be a hair low, but just a massive ball. 4.62, look like 55. The official one is 56 and 4.6. So a pretty dang good ball right there. Really what you'd want to see. Let's see if he can maybe get some of those bigger hang time punts that I was kind of hyping him up to. Let's see, another really good punt. These aren't punts you're going to be mad at here. Another really far one, 4.85 and probably 58. So about 58 yards, and I got 4.85 on that one. So pretty good ball. Looks like he's kind of ramping up into this next one. Let's see if he's able to end on a high note here. Comfortable, good drop, and he doesn't quite catch it clean. Comes down right at about 38 and goes 38 yards, 3.84 seconds. So now they're going to slide up and do pin punt situations and going in, and they're going to be at the 48 and 45 yard. So they're going in, they're going to try to pin them, get these guys down inside the 20. This is an important punt. As you can, if you guys know, the UFL has currently done away with this punt. LMG loading, what is going on, my guy? The UFL has gone away with end over end punts. So I think he's going to get a quick warm up here for Jeff Yerk, but this is a good one. What I'm looking for when I see these, just location, right? Location and spin. It's nice to see that the guy's hitting the type of ball he wants to hit. I tend to assume if a punter drops a nose, you want just like that clean backspin, and then you want to see that they can control it. So you want it to be straight up and down, looking like a saw blade flying through the sky, and ideally it's going to be landing somewhere inside the 10-yard line. So they're both getting one practice one, I believe, and then they're going to get going. So right there, pretty good look at it. And they both landed at the 10. So Jeff, they are letting them choose the direction. Oh, we've lost the camera here. There we go, and we're back. So they're able to choose their own direction here. Letting them choose their own direction here. Jeff is deciding to go left. Ball's at the 48-yard line. So that is a good ball. It's clean. It might be outside the 10. It's right at 5. So 4-5 right at the 12. That is what we call a pretty functional ball in the NFL, right? I think NFL coaches, as a general rule of thumb, are trying to be between the 12 and the 8 yard line. You want to force the fair catch. You don't really want to, as much as we love to see, what Michael Dixon did and putting it at the 1 yard line, most coaches are happy with what, Bryce Baringer did, putting everything at the 12. That ball was fair caught at the 5, or just caught at the 5 with 4-4-7. So, pretty good ball right there. Pretty good 2 ball set from Jeff. And now they're going to do one more, letting the ball bounce, right? Seeing if he can control the bounce, which is a pretty hard thing to control. He's gone both times with just a traditional drop punt. He kind of has his hand under the ball, which is fine, and does not catch this one clean, but sometimes it'll work in his favor, but it doesn't this time as it bounces through. So lands at the 4, just bounces straight through. Kind of got a weird rotation on that one. It wasn't the clean backspin punt, but overall, pretty good set up until that point. They might have caught him off guard with that one. So now Tommy Doman, we get to see what he has got going on. The Florida punter, okay, he's going left too. They tend to go with the underhand grip on it. There's a couple different ways you can hold one of these nose down balls. Some NFL punters like holding it like a soda can, others like holding it underhand. They're letting these ones bounce now, going directional left for Tommy. Right-footed punters tend to favor left because you can get a little bit more strength on it. This looks like a really good ball. Good height on it. Lands at the 8, bounces through. 4-6-5, probably forcing the fair catch. So probably forced the fair catch right there, which is what we want to see, and that's at the 8. So typically NFL returners are going to make a judgment call, but if it's at the 8, they're likely going to judge to fair catch it. I've seen them fair catch it as far back as the 5, just depending on what the coverage team is doing, because the 5 is still better than the 1, and if you're surrounded by coverage players, you might as well be the one to catch it and make sure it doesn't take a favorable bounce. So, Doman again, now from the 45-yard line, maybe a little hair low on the snap, catches this one up the elevator shaft and lands at the 16-yard line with 4.63. So, would be a fair catch, would 100% be a fair catch, but probably maybe not the optimal ball for what he would want in that situation. So that finishes up the first group. Ladies and gentlemen, we have plenty more where that's coming from. So stick around. The next 2 up looks like it's going to be, I see Aiden LaRosse picking out his long snapper. Probably going to get a couple practice snaps. Just getting a couple catches here real quick. And then going up with him is to be determined. But right now, we definitely have Aiden LaRosse. Now, Aiden LaRosse is coming from Kentucky. I've been very high on Aiden LaRosse. These are just warm-up punts, so don't take them too seriously. He's feeling out the conditions again. They got a nice warm-up earlier, but now they're trying to, re-get their bearings. I see Devin Bale taking the field. Now, Devin Bale and Aiden LaRosse, I think, are 2 guys I've been very high on in the draft process. Bale played at Arkansas. I thought he's just a gamer. He just comes alive at the biggest moments. He punts really well from backed up, which is something that I think is rare. To me, that just shows that he likes to boot, and that just says a lot. Now the wind, I don't think the wind has changed. Was worth noting that it is a little bit of a cooler breeze, so warm winds tend to help the ball out because it's a little bit warmer. It's going to lighten the ball, kind of give it a little bit extra lift. Cold winds tend to drive the ball down because it's denser, cooler air that pushes it down. But right now, these guys just getting ready. Whew, monsoon shot from LaRosse right there in the warm-ups. But it should be a very, very good showing from these 2 guys. 2 guys I'm really excited to see right now. Currently, as it stands, as they perform today, I think Jeff Yerk has got the edge as the #1 punter so far over Tommy Doman in their limited showing. But everybody has hit some good balls. The biggest ball of the day is somewhere around 55, 5.2 or 5.1 in that ballpark, but it is just a solid showing up to this point. But we're going to keep it going here. The guys seem to look like they've warmed up. They seem to look like they are ready to go. Northern Colorado transfer ended up at the University of Arkansas, starting off with his directional right punts. Now, Devin Bale is a gamer. I like his operation time already. This one is going to come down a hair short. Right at 40 yards, they might give him. They gave him 38. That one looked closer to 39 or 40 to me, and I did get 4.66 here. His next punt, if he can turn one over, he's got good trajectory. He's got a big windup on the backswing, and he ball looks like it's kind of hitting a little breeze up top right there. I got 509 right there, but it did come down at 35. It's getting caught up in what felt like a head felt like it got caught up in a headwind there. Okay. Missed that one. This is a better ball, but great direction. Comes down right at 45. I 5.27. So able to kind of get back to it at the end there. 46-yard ball, able to kind of save the day. The wind has changed up just a little bit as it's now kind of a headwind for these guys. Aiden is just getting his drop in, and then he's going to start firing. Okay, the wind is once again switched back. It's a little bit swirling, but once again, it's not much to really take note of. So let's see what Aiden can do under these conditions. Really good drop. You can just tell he's an explosive leg. They both do. This one's going to come down at 38 yards. That was a 4.3. So at 38 yards, let's see him recover. You're allowed to have bad punts as long as you recover from them, and that was not a good one, and this is a good recovery. So this is what you want to see. It's got a nice high wobble. I was late, but I got 5.3. They're getting 5.10. I would tend to trust them. I was enamored by the height of that ball. So in the 5.0 range, but 55, 507, definitely one of the bigger balls we've seen. Let's see if he can build on that. He does, and it just kind of unravels on him. It's going to get right past 40 and be a 4.53. So direction, maybe not perfect. Big ball, definitely has it. So now let's see what Devin Bale is going to be able to do, right? His directional right set probably didn't go how he wanted. We come back out here to the directional left, so you've got a chance to rewrite your own history if you hit the ball well. So looking for Devin Bale to be able to just bounce back from this one. Had a couple big balls. Now going out to the left. Just winding up on it. You almost want to say he's winding up on the ball a little bit too much. I got a 4.72 42. You see, he's got this really elongated backswing that you almost think is kind of taking away some of it, but taking away just a little bit of power, which can come at these combines when you're really just trying to put everything into it. We might have our first visitor of the day, as this ball is going to take a bounce right at the camera. 5.06, we were able to deflect it, but visitor number one comes down at probably around 20, 31, 29 yards. I was paying more attention to surviving, and there it is. That's a ball, and that's how you recover. All right. 5.12 is what I got. 50, 5.12, 5.15 is their measurement, but that's a pretty good ball. So unfortunately, a couple adverse ones that are gonna, I think, keep him out of that number one, number two spot. I think Doman was a little bit more controlled, but um, definitely, with his open fields, could move up for sure because he has the big leg. He's been able to break that 5.0 barrier. So LaRosse coming up now. That is a big ball. That is a big ball. Directionally, it's just going to be outside the house, but 55, I got 5.28. They're getting 5.29. 50, 55, 5.28. One of the bigger balls of the day. And Aiden, this is what I expected. Aiden has hit some really big balls. I think he has a little bit of an unorthodox style, which makes that was a 40 or a 35, 4.3, 4.25. So he has an unorthodox style that makes him a little bit harder to evaluate, but I just trust your eyes, right? See what the guy's hitting because he's hitting some absolute bombs. But let's see if he can. Oh my goodness. And that might be the ball of the day. That's probably going to be our first 60. A 65-50 is what I'm getting. I got a pure 5-0 on that one. 65 yards. Oh my God, what a ball. So that's the biggest ball of the day. 65-50. All right. Okay. Like I said, the wind is just swirling. It kind of has been switching around. It's going back and forth. But now they're going back to the open field punts. All right. So these guys getting ready to do their open field punts. Now they're going to have snaps. I'm excited to see what these guys do. These are definitely showing off some bigger punts already than what we've seen. Aiden LaRosse climbing up. The miss hits have been just a little bit missy, you know. You'd like to see the misses be somewhere around the 4.5, 45 range, and the missing below a 40-yard punt is really, to be quite honest, it really is a detriment. But assuming you can get that cleaned up a little bit, the top end is immaculate, right? The wind is swirling. It's probably about, I would say, a 2 mile an hour wind, 2 to 3 mile an hour wind. Really not much. And these guys are getting ready to go and get after it. And the big thing here, for Devin, obviously Aiden has hit some massive balls. Devin has hit some big ones himself, is to not try to chase what other guys are doing. And wow, he is trying to be the guy who gets chased. That is huge. 58. I'm getting a 5-0 right there off my watch. 58-50. I'm hearing it echoed around. There's a bunch of stopwatches around here. So I'm hearing 5-0 echoed. That is a big ball. And like I said, he's a gamer. These open field, let me just go do my thing balls are his best ones. I say as one does unfortunately get sent to the guy serving popcorn in the stands. So that one, really hard to say what the distance would be. It was a shank. Um, but there you go. And he bounces right back with a monster, right? 50 yards, 4.78, right? Really great way to bounce back. You can't let a ball like that ruin your day, right? Obviously, he's going to go home and be annoyed that he hit that ball. It was probably 21 yards. But you live and you kick another ball and it's not the end of the world, right? He hit another massive ball, so everybody's doing all right. Now, LaRosse here has a chance to hit a massive ball. The snap's just a little bit high, but golly, so is the ball. Coming down 47. I got 5.22. That is a huge ball. Massive ball right there. And he's just on a streak, right? And that's what we're seeing now. Hopefully he can just continue to just keep this going. And there's another just kind of miss. 33 right there. Allegedly, that one did not count. They said he was rushing or so he gets another chance here, and he's going to make a great opportunity of that. That is a very high ball. It might not get past, it's just at 40 yards, but I got 5.3. Huge ball. Huge ball. 5.3, 41, 42 yards. That is massive. So let's see right now if he comes back. So the breeze has all but stopped. The flags are all dead. So this should be just like kicking in a dome. So he gets his last ball here, and woo! That is it. 60 yards. I got 4.91. The camera can't keep up with it. It's too far. So that is a huge ball. So now they're going to move on to the pooch punts, right? Everybody's hit a ball they didn't like. Everybody's hit a bunch of balls that we really did like. And now we're going to try to pooch it and see if we can be well-rounded across all fronts here. So Devin is going to be going directional right here. The first two punters chose to go directional left, as I had stated before. Guys just kind of like that. Now, Aiden does have a rugby background for what it's worth, and that was a perfect ball. So he played some rugby. He is from South Africa. So this sort of touch punt, this pooch punt, end over end style punt is really in his wheelhouse. So it's going to be interesting to see what he's able to do with this. But there has been some bombs so far. So both of these guys, just from their initial two punts, have been looking pretty good. Pretty excited to see what they're going to be able to do when they actually get into a live one. That one's going to come down short, but luckily it does not count. It is, we get our second visitor of the day. Looks like they both hit their warm-up punts and they are getting ready to go live. All right, so now plus 48 yard line going in. So we're going from not catching it. Devin Bale gets the first one. Sort of a low driven punt. Lands at the half-inch mark, but they're saying it went one deep. So gets a little bit too much on that one. So let's see how he does on the bounce back punt. So sliding up to 45. Let's see the bounce back here. So gets the nose a little bit straighter. Notice he lost the nose a hair on the first one. That one's a lot better. Lands at the 6, takes a beautiful check back, about 4.3 seconds of hang time. That's what you want to see. All right, Aiden LaRosse up next. Coming in here, like I said, with his rugby background, this should be something that's in his wheelhouse pretty well. Clean snap right there. Gets kind of a sideways spin on it. Lands at the 12-yard line with 4.47 seconds of hang time. So probably going to be a fair catch right there. Once again, aiming from the 12 to the 8, probably where most of these guys are going to try to be at. So now, sliding up 3 yards, he's going to get another shot from. And Aiden has been really impressive up to this point. We'd like to see him just end on a nice ball, maybe at the 6, something a little daring. It's going to come off the side of his foot just a hair and going to be at maybe the 15-yard line. Yeah, 4.81, so good height on it, but at the 15. Would have liked to see that one maybe a hair deeper, but as it stands, not a bad ball whatsoever. All right, so the next group's going to come up. They're going to start getting warm and getting loose, but overall, not a bad showing for them. And we definitely got probably some of our biggest punts. I think tentatively we're going to slide Aiden into the number 1 spot, right? I think he hit some really big balls. He showed off that top end that a lot of NFL teams want to see. He hit that 65-5-0 punt. Guys, that's big. That's a special ball, right? So being able to hit that on command, in a set of 6, right? It's not a set of 12, it's not a set of 15, it's a set of 6. Being able to hit that ball in there is pretty massive for him, right? Then his open field punts, he did another really good job hitting the ball really far, really high on a consistent basis. Definitely gives him the edge as one of the better punters, if not the best punter that we've seen so far. So I'm going to give him the edge at the number 1 spot. Okay, so I'll mute myself. All right. The two punters that are up right now is we've got Keelan Crimmins from Illinois and Caleb Junko from Now, sorry, you saw me pause there for a second. I am feeling the breeze kind of pick up. If we can pan over to the flag, you'll see that the wind is now pretty heavily kind of turned and in their face. So the footballs are dying. I'm going to be real. They are dying. It's not a really strong wind, so you would like to see them be able to kind of force the ball through it, but it is notable that it is more of a wind than any of the other punters have had up to this point in their face. So could play a factor in some of these numbers, but realistically, I think at the highest level, we should hopefully see these guys be able to get some of the balls through it. Things that we're looking for when you're punting into a wind is you still want to see a good spiraling punt. You want to see them drive it through, and that's just what they're going to have to do here. A little amount of wiggle on these balls is going to get caught up in it, in the breeze, and hurt them. Like, so being able to just stay locked in, stay focused, accept the fact that maybe you're in an adverse situation compared to guys that went before you, and make the best of it is really all that you can do. As I would say, feeling it out right now, it's probably about a 5.5 to 8 mile an hour wind. So we'll see if they're able to power through this here. So Caleb Junko is going to be the guy up first. Coming out of pit, should be used to a little bit of wind in his face. So he's going to have to drive the ball well through it. There you go. You see it as it starts off. It has a decently tight spiral. 484, probably about 48 yards is exactly what you'd want to see. But the wind is picking up here. Thank you, sir. So 484, 48 yards. I don't know if that counts as the first official punt, but that's the ball that you'd want to see. If you're able to hit 4.8s, 48 yards in this condition right here, you're having a pretty good day as it continues to pick up. Okay, so that was his warm-up punt. Here comes punt number one. Let's see if he can replicate that first one. So he pranked us there. He's taking a little warm-up snap. But here comes ball number one from Junko. So you can tell he's trying to drive it a little bit, and that ball just loses a lot of steam as it's trying to cut through the breeze. Falls down a little bit shorter at 42.43. One thing you'll notice a lot of guys do is they try to really drive the ball and hit it low through the wind, and a lot of times that ends up making it lose a lot of steam as is, and you want to get the most power out of it. And you're going to see that this ball goes up a little loose on the spiral, but only loses about 3 yards. So not trying to force the ball too low. It was about 484, 39. So not trying to drive the ball too much is kind of the secret through these lighter breezes, is just don't really let it affect you and still try to hit your ball. That's a good ball. It is going to be right outside the chalk. I got 484 right at 41 yards, but that's not going to be returned either because the guy's fair catching it or it's just rolling out of bounds. And that was 41 yards. Sometimes it can be easy to lose which hash mark you just saw the ball hit at, but all right, the wind has calmed down a little bit for Keelan Crimmins, so hopefully it stays away. And he hits a good ball, nice little wobble on it. It's going to get to about 45 yards and 4.5. So good warm-up ball down the hash that he was kicking from. So you'd like to see him get it outside where everything's supposed to be directional right, but not a bad ball, right? Kind of hard to go from just sitting watching all the other punters, then you get 3 warm-up punts, and all of a sudden you've got to be, hitting full speed. This one is getting caught up in a breeze. It's going to be about 32 yards, but I got 503. So right at 50, right at 50, 37 or 32. Sorry, not 37. Once again, we're just losing the yard markers here sometimes. But this one looks like it is going to be better. And you can just tell that between the last group to this one, the wind is affecting it. We are struggling to get balls past 45 yards. You'd like to see someone just drive one through. I got about 4.6, but right at 41, 4.5. All right, so going back to the left now, this is probably going to be, admittedly, a big challenge, right? This is going to be a hard breeze to kick through, especially going If it continues to pick up right now, it's on a bit of a downward trend where it's not super windy, but there's a small flag you can see behind him that's whipping. But this is a great ball for the situation. 56, I got 504. That's a big ball. And that's what you have to do is you have to capitalize on any opportunity where the wind is not really whipping up for you. And his ability to recognize that like, hey, it's not a really windy situation. I'm going to really unload on this one is massive. And he's going to look like he's going to do it again. Hopefully can get to that 40-yard marker. Not quite, but it's a 5-1. Got 38. And that one looks like it just kind of unraveled just a hair. So a little wobble. Little wobble on it. Now for his last kick. There you go. Trying to just force it through the wind again. It's going to be tough. Just right down the middle right there. And it's about a 4-6. So 4-6, pretty good showing. He hit it high. It looked like it might have gotten caught up in the wind that he maybe was hoping wasn't going to pick back up. Picked back up and drove his second ball down. Then, recognized that that was happening and hit a good ball on his last one. So next up, Keelan Crimmon's going to come out here. His punting coach is hanging around here watching him, so I'm sure he's very excited to see what he does. The wind did pick back up, but he was able to hit a clean ball through it. I found that it's best to just pretend the wind doesn't exist at any opportunity you can, because a little bit of wind does make a big difference, but if you can kind of just still hit a good ball, it really won't affect it that much. So 4-4-5, 46-yard punt. And let's see if he can just continue to build on that. The wind has picked back up a little bit for him. Punting into it right now, and we might have another visitor. So it's going to come down short right at 31, and it bounces out from us. So luckily we do not get hit by a football. But okay, his last punt going left. Once again, very hard direction to kick, especially with this breeze, and just kind of hits it thin. 4-1-5 and gets kind of pushed down by the wind. So these guys not getting any help here from the weather. But now snappers are going to come back out. Snappers coming back out and going to give him some open field punts. And with the way that the wind's looking, no one's going to be super excited. It's still not a huge win, but the fact that the guys before you had a little bit of a tailwind and now you've got a little bit of a headwind is always a slight frustration that punters have to go through because it's two different balls. So they're just getting used to hitting the ball in the open field here, taking a couple practice punts before they get back into it. Then they have the open field. So we'll be interested to see what these guys can do in the open field. Now's their time to really just shine and hit a really big one. And hopefully that's what we get to see right now. So they're continuing to warm up. So far up to this point, cutting back here real quick while they take a warm up. So far, what we've been seeing is really impressive performance out of Aiden LaRosse and Jeff Yerk. Those guys both look really good and hit a bunch of really good balls. Tommy Doman has a chance tomorrow to come back out and shine, and he laid the groundwork today for tomorrow to be really impressive. So that's what we're seeing right now. Devin Bell, once again, in the same boat, laid the groundwork today for tomorrow to be really good. Where if he comes out and has an awesome day, then tomorrow he has a chance to really make a name for himself. So now Caleb Junko about to take his first open field punt. The wind has stopped, so he bombs it, and you hear the crowd there. 494, 55-yard punt. So a little bit of a crowd pop there because everybody has been watching the wind just drive the balls down. So lucky to see him get one with a nice little calm, relaxing tailwind. So hopefully he can just build on it. Loses the nose a little bit, but massacres that ball. That's going to be in the low fives. 53, 516. That is a ball right there. So that is a huge ball. right there from Junko. So hopefully he can keep this going. I don't know, 3 where they have just been mashing him, but right now he's 2 for 3. And he is going to go 3 for 3. That is a huge ball, higher than the last 50. And I got about a 5-2 on that one. 5-2-5 to 5-2-8. That's a huge ball. So really impressive. Like that is how you save a set, right? You're frustrated, you're kicking into the wind. You have to do all these directional kicks with a wind that's hurting you. You get your open fields, right? You get a chance to redeem yourself and the wind stops. That's exactly what you have to do. Let's see if Keelan can do the same thing. That is a good ball. These guys have figured it out now, right? And that just goes to show how much the wind affects punters, right? When the wind's in your face and you're trying to just focus more on hitting a good tight spiral and you're not just like opening up on the ball, it compounds very quickly to make you have what looks like a very off day. So it was a 47-4-9. All right, everybody's loving to see these guys finally get one with no wind affecting them. And that's another boot. Just massive ball. Losing the camera just a little bit right there. Everyone's saying 5-0 to 506. We're going to have to restart this, which is all right. So he's got one more coming up here. So let's see the big ball. And that's another good one, but it is actually going to, looks like come down a little short. So 33 yards on that one on a full turn could indicate that there's maybe more of a wind. Could be more of a wind, sort of picking up down the field a little bit. But all in all, pretty good set. That's what you, once again, what you want to see from these guys when they get a chance to be in the open field is them to just explode some footballs when given the chance. Any kicker who's ever kicked or punted knows that can be extremely frustrating having to punt into the wind. It's not fun. Balls go less far. Any slight miss hit you have, it just gets absolutely punished. So for them to be able to rectify themselves by coming out here and hitting massive balls once the wind finally calms down a little bit for them, everybody loves to see it. Everybody was happy. So now they're warming up. They're going to do their pin punts. And we'll be able to see what they have as far as the pin punts. So far, the pin punts have been very solid across the board. There's been good rotations. We've had maybe one with like a weird unintended spin. No one, for what it's worth, has decided to pull out a pooch punt spiral or a banana ball, which is two pretty common ones. There hasn't even been a lot of misdirections like Louis or anything of the sort. But with Keelan Crimmins being an Australian, uh, we should expect something impressive from him. Those guys are pretty good at hitting this style of punt from the close range. But Caleb Junko is up first. Ball's at the 48. The wind has picked up, so we'll see what he tries to do here. So he catches one, and that thing just gets caught up. It's going to land at the 11-yard line, though, so still a playable ball. People are getting around a 4.5 to 4.6. About 4.5 to 4.6. Lands at the 11 or 12-yard line. Very playable ball. So he's hitting one from the exact same spot. I believe he's supposed to be sliding up to the 45-yard line, but this is a much better ball. Lands at the 8, perfect direction, 4.53. That is an awesome ball. So he hit 2 balls from the 48. A little bit of a operational error. It looks like both of the punters like to go directional right here. Let's see what the big Aussie can do. Ball is going to be at the 48. The wind has calmed down. He gets a big leg under it. High, good rotation. Lands at the 9.472. That is what you want to see. Bounces forward, but that ball's getting fair caught. We don't really care about bounce on that one. Really, if we're going to take bounce into consideration, it's going to be when the ball is inside the 5, especially if it's like a little bit lower, because that's when you're trying to maybe just catch it again. Maybe not the purest rotation, comes down at the 17-yard line, 4.72. I've noticed a lot of people from the 45-yard line tend to actually take a little bit too much off. Take a little bit too much off the ball when it's at the 45-yard line. So the next couple of guys are going to start getting warmed up. We're going to have Caden Noonkester, and I believe that is Ben De Aquila coming out here to show off what they got. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting back to it. We have got the kicking starting, and we are opening up a little bit of technical difficulty. We apologize for this. I know it has been a long wait, but we are back. Okay. So starting off, so Ethan Sanchez, number 4, they're just going to be kind of moving around the field a little bit. What we're looking for here is ball height. If those of you who were hanging out when we were doing the college showcase, we got things like the ball height and the ball speed and the good from. Today we got a working set of eyeballs, all right? And we're going to use those to the best of our God-given ability to tell how good of kicks these kicks are. Now, luckily for you all, I'd like to think I've got a pretty good set of them, so you should get some pretty accurate information here. But up next is Ethan Sanchez, University of Houston kicker. Look, guys, this guy's a gamer, okay? And that ball is smoked. It is just leaving the foot, a lot of velocity, just kind of keeps climbing. I think the sign of a good kicker is when you hit it, it kind of is going to like go. And we're the point where you think it would just start to taper off, it's going to hit like that next level and just kind of keep going. I don't know how to describe that really. It's one of those things you have to see in person, but it just kind of keeps going. And that was what we saw right there. So going on right now, everybody seems to be good from, we're at the 33, which is just going to be a standard field goal. Another good kick there. And we're going to roll through these. So well, you kind of expect at the NFL level, everybody should just make everything, right? All the way back until we're starting to get to like the 40s and 50s. That is just the expectation. Anybody who's watching an NFL game and has seen the online reaction to a missed kick knows that you kind of don't have a lot of wiggle room here. So, especially inside of 40, you're just going to expect everything to be made. So, they're just going to keep rolling through, and these are just extra points. Plenty of NFL kickers this year won 100% on extra points, so we're kind of expecting this group to do the same thing. This one's a little high, could be wide right. I'm waiting for the good or no good call. Are we going to get a good no good call? Okay, so a little bit wide right there from the LSU kicker, but well, importantly, in the same vein, as much as I said we do expect every kick to be made, is also about bouncing back because kicks are going to be missed, right? Just because that's the expectation is, can you bounce back? No, you're good. Can you bounce back and just make the next kick? So going a little high rotation, but very, very clean ball nonetheless. And they're moving through pretty quick on this one. Coming up is going to be UCF's kicker. So this is Noah Royales. Coming out to kick right here. Do you mind, like, being the guy that keeps him out of the camera? Yeah. All right. Okay. Sorry. And that is a smoked ball. That's why they gave him number 1. Coming up next is going to be Atticus Sappington. So we are just going to rock and roll through these guys. As you guys can tell, this is the pacing. So Atticus coming out of Texas. Pretty good career there. Looking to tack on to a great career with a great kick from 33 yards out, also known as an NFL extra point. Little bit close to the left upright, waiting for the good or no good call. No, that was not Atticus. My apologies. This is Atticus. Atticus was on deck. I'm guessing that one was good. Did not hear anything from the good, no good call. But who we had just seen was Mason Shipley. Sorry, Atticus is from the University of Oregon, and he hits that one clean. It's good, and we're just going to keep rocking and rolling through here. So the Tulsa kicker, Lath Morhin. So just a 33-yard kick. And it is good. All right, so there we have it. And I believe that's it for the first. No, next is Jaden Fielding from Ohio State. Yes, the punting was a couple hours earlier if you want to scroll back in the stream and catch back up. So, Jaden Fielding coming up to kick right now. Heard he has a big leg, and he is tacking onto it. We did not get a good or no good call from. Did not get the good or no good call from the kids underneath, but starting off strong. Strong showing from this group, and they're just going to keep looking to keep tacking on good kicks right now. So, kicker from San Diego State University pipes it down the middle. Now they're backing up to 36. So the pacing on this is going pretty well. At the end of it, we're going to eventually hear how everybody has done. In the past, we would have had this scoreboard that is directly above my head running and rolling actively, but perhaps we'll get that going tomorrow. Right now, we are just. Your stream only goes back 9 minutes. I'm sorry to hear about that. The whole stream will be uploaded onto the YouTube channel later today. So there you go. Another good kick coming from Chris Freeman. People were telling me he was going to impress, and so far on 2 kicks, he's done just that. But of course, kicking is not about making one ball; it is about making every ball. So coming in now, Ethan Sanchez for supposed to be a 36-yard punt. I believe we're lined up at the wrong spot. They are lined up at 33. Does anybody want to? There we go. Okay, so they're just adjusting them right now, getting them to be lined up at the same spot. So sliding back a couple yards. Holder, Tommy Doman, trying to sneak in a gimme for his boy Ethan Sanchez, trying to give him a nice chip shot. Yeah, you might turn the stream on late if it only goes back 9 minutes. Sorry, I'm just seeing that. Okay. Sanchez, big leg, shown a lot of promise so far. Doman with the hold, so we'll see what he's got. So coming from the University of Houston, he had a really impressive year this year. He had 4 game winners. He had a couple games with like yard balls and is just really showing off in some impressive stuff. So as we kind of get through this little bit of a grind, which is the early rounds of 33 and 36-yard kicks, these are kicks that we have to see them make. We're legally obligated, as a staff to watch them make these kicks because they're going to have to kick in the NFL. But at the same time, we do expect these to be made, and we're not going to be surprised when they are made. But we do have to watch it. So it's a little grind getting through some of these shorter kicks. We know they can make them. It's just about making sure that they will make them, which is the big part. So Damien looking to bounce back. He did miss the extra point. So he's looking to bounce back right here, show that it's not going to be a head case thing. Maybe he towed it. It's kind of, really fast paced. Guys running in, running out. Could have rushed it a little bit, towed it a hair. So getting back in here, getting back into his rhythm, showing that he's still going to be good from the right hash, really important for him to show off. Guys are going to want to see it. So Damian Ramos here gets set, goes. Clean looking ball. We get 2 arms up from both of our guys, so it's good. Just
trying to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. And it just frozen again, too. I don't know either. I can figure that out when we get back to the hotel. All right. I'm actually going to leave you guys on the big screen here for a little bit. So coming through, really good hit right there. All right, now the UCF kicker coming through, made his earlier one. This is Noah Ruelas. Noah Ruelas. It's been a long day of talking, so who's the best guy here right now? Roylis, yeah, he's been impressive. There's been a lot of really good kickers and punters here right now. So finding the best guy is that's why we're here, right? To figure out who the best guy is. There's a lot of guys who have been really impressive. From the punting portion, Aiden LaRosse had a really good day. I think Jeff Yerk had a really good day. From the long snappers, the Georgia long snapper had a really good day, which would be Bo Gardner. The kickers, we're waiting to see who has a good day. So for the kickers, we're waiting to see who's gonna have a good day right now. So everybody's still actively kicking. A handful of misses so far, but generally a pretty good performance. And these guys are going to keep it rolling. Things will get really impressive once we kind of get back to 45 to 50 yards is when things are really going to start to pick up. But coming out right now, Seth Morgan from Tulsa, looking to connect on his 36-yard field goal. He already made one from 33, as did many other people here. So he needs to keep his name in the list of the 100%ers. And it looks like he's going to be able to do just that. Now out comes Jay Fielding. Showed off an impressive leg on his first kick. One of the more impressive legs here. Has, a lot to being honest, a lot to overcome in his career. He's going to have to show really good at these and combines and pro days, but he's got the leg, right? He's got the leg for it. It'll be a show of incredible mental toughness that he can continue to go and hit balls like that and show that he can still be the guy. So, another good kick from Jay. As we just kind of continue to roll on through. Up next is Gabe Placencia, coming from San Diego State University, notably a school that has had a lot of talent in the kicking game, right? You have uh, Matt Ariza, who came out, really talented kicker. Then right after me, you had Jack Browning, really talented punter and kicker, right? So very talented guys that come out of San Diego State. Just looking to put his name up there with the rest of them. Now with a back to the middle, we're restarting. So Chris Freeman out to kick, rocking the number 2, and he hits another good one. We do have a bit of a headwind still kicking into our face, but the kicks are still flying straight. So not too much of a crosswind. It's going to take about a couple yards off the ball, but nothing of note, especially from this would be a 39-yarder. So Ethan Sanchez coming out next, University of Houston kicker. Has probably hit a game winner from this exact position before. And the wind is just slowly but surely picking up. So we lost it there for a second, but got the camera back just in time for you to see that it is good. So right now everyone's just plodding away. Everything from inside of 40 we should expect to be made, and for the most part they have lived true to that. When we get to the 48, 49, 50-yard kicks, that's when you're going to start to see who really separates themselves from the pack. But out to kick right now. Looking to stay in front was Latham Morgan. And I did not get a chance to look up and see where that one went, which is probably a bad sign. Because usually when you look up after a kick, you can find the ball pretty easily. So I believe that ball was a little left, which happens. A little slight miss hit, but now back out is going to be Latham Margin. No, Latham Margin was just out. But it was Damian Ramos from LSU. Out looking to continue putting on a good performance. Does so, right? Missed one from 33, but has continued to make his kicks going forward. Okay. After that, Luke. It's Luke. Last name. Let's give it one good college try. Dreswicki. Oh, there we go. Okay. Luke Dreswicki out to kick from 39 yards out, and whoa, that is a cannon shot. That is a great ball right there. Hard to break up the monotony of the early kicks because, like I said earlier, we kind of expect these to be made. Anything from inside of 45, really inside of 50, you kind of expect to go through the uprights. It's just about not getting bored in the meantime. We expect the guys to make these kicks, and then once they make them, they get a chance to set themselves apart by making some of the longer kicks that we don't expect guys to make all the time. But this one's going to continue to be made. Really impressive leg right there from Ruelas. As Shipley is coming on from 39 yards out. Lining up, taking his sights. Sets the ball down, and he is going to knock it through. So all of these guys, right, this is a very elite camp. Everybody's hitting the ball pretty far. And it's one thing that we've come to find out is it's pretty straightforward. This is a very talented group. But it's not about who can hit the ball far. Today is about figuring out who will hit the ball far. Every single time and through the uprights. These showcases are demonstrations of not just talent, but focus and the ability to stay locked in, right, through each and every one of these kicks. And that is another great kick from Atticus Sappington, who continuing to just hit some good balls. Up next, Seth Morgan, coming out of Tulsa from 39 yards out. And that's a good one. Really good height on that ball, right? Especially from inside of 50. You really want to see him get the ball up. There's no need to drive it. You just want to see a good, get it over the line of scrimmage, 12 feet over the line of scrimmage type ball. That's the industry standard. Up next, Jaden Fielding, 39 yards out. Taking a breath, getting the ball set. They might be about a yard closer, but it is a great ball. Would have been good from 20 yards further back. So that's what we want to see. He's hitting the ball very clean, just staying within himself, hitting the ball he needs to hit. Up next, a lefty kicker from San Diego State University. Chance here to make a big kick, and he's going to do it. He's got the little bit of a lefty swerve to it. Looks like he was able to hook it in. Okay, and we're back to the top. So things are going to start getting a little bit spicier here for the kickers. 41-yard field goal. We're on the right hash. The wind has, for all intents and purposes, completely died. Something you know that the punters would have liked. We've got a good call from our officials under the uprights and under the age of 18, but they are still giving us a good call. As now Ethan Sanchez has taken the stage. Right now, everybody, distance-wise, height-wise, everybody's looking the look, walking the walk, talking the talk, but it's about who can keep it going. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint. You got 10 kicks to make it happen. Right now, Sanchez smokes it. So, great kick by Sanchez. You can see he maybe got a little under that one. Doesn't seem like he was in love with his own kick, but, punters, kickers, long snappers, you see, we all hold ourselves to a higher standard than other people hold us. We like to see the kicks go through the uprights. He's looking for contact points. He's looking for rotations. So he might have seen something he didn't love in that ball, but doesn't make it any less good to my eye. Coming up next, Lythe comes back out and comes right into it. Hits a really good ball and just kind of keeps it going. Missed one last round, right? We just want to see guys bounce back, get out, don't get into your own head. And so far, anybody who's done that, a miss has been a one off thing. It's really easy to lose focus for one single second, and the next thing you know, you have completely just missed an opportunity. So, and that is a great ball right there. So, okay. Luke Drzewski coming back out, 41 yards. Here we go. We are rolling now. People are starting to get into rhythm a little bit. They're starting to feel it out. We haven't had a miss in a while. Hey, a little bit, yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna have one more kick going this direction, and then they're gonna flip it back on over. So there we go. Going from 41, and there it is. So these guys have been pretty good so far. Only a handful of kickers have even had a miss, much less anybody having more than one miss. Okay, Will Shipley out now, coming from Texas, looking to kick it back to Texas. It's a pretty good ball. Hits a little bit of a lower, more driven ball than some of the other guys here, but still perfectly playable. As Atticus Sappington is coming on now. So far, it has been boringly good. Guys are just making their kicks. Of course, I spoke a little bit too soon. One gets missed, a little bit wide right. The commentator's jinx is still alive and well, even on YouTube. But guys tow it a little bit. Like I said, the pacing of this is really fast paced. You get up there, you take your steps, you kick it. Not too unlike what you might expect in a game, but just without all the practice kicks that you can take on the sideline in the meantime. It does play a degree, of a role in all of this. Some guys have a routine that they'll have on the sideline. You don't really get that routine here because you're pretty much coming up right after every, you know, right after every kick. So Jaden fielding out right now, getting comfortable, getting his feet set. And he hits it. Is it gonna sneak in? It is gonna stay outside the right upright. So, like I said, there's something about getting past 40 yards where that's when things start to sort of shake up a little bit. Up to this point, we had seen a lot of people just make all their kicks, but once you get outside of 40, you'll see, things start to get towed, people get into their own heads about trying to add that little bit more juice that, as you could see, they did not need up to this point, and balls just start to get missed. And you're going to see as we continue to go back, more and more of that's going to start to happen. It has been boring up to this point, but as far as just how consistently good everybody has been, how all on the same level everybody's been, but now as they look like they're about to back up to a 44-yard kick, we're going to see if everybody who has been perfect up to this point, which I believe Chris Freeman does has a name amongst the perfect kickers, we're going to see if he's going to be able to keep it up. He's getting his steps. And he smokes it. Guys, that is just an incredibly accurate kick. It is a very accurate kick, right? Sometimes you wish you had more to say about it, but at the end of the day, kicking a field goal down the middle, it's going to be down the middle no matter where you're at. Next up is Ethan Sanchez. Looks like we are going to have one miss wide to the left right there. So the list of perfect kickers goes down by one, as we're trying to see who can just stay pure and stay perfect throughout the duration of this event. Lath Morgan up next, coming from Kentucky. One miss so far, I believe, at 36 yards. Really clean looking kick, and is going to be wide left. So pretty ball, but wide left. So as we start getting to the 44, 45, 46 yard line, guys, as much as you would expect it to look just the same as it's been looking because of how good the 33 yarders were looking, people start to get into their own head at these longer distances. Damian will not be one of those people. He makes another kick, and it goes down the middle. Now from 44. Good hold, good kick. And I believe he is perfect up to this point. So Luke Drzwicki is all right. So Noah Royalist, who's been really impressive up to this point, one of the guys that has truly stood out for having a powerful leg amongst powerful legs, believe it or not, is going to continue to stand out. The height he gets in the ball, clean rotation every single time. You can just tell this is a, really high level kicker right here. So he has continued to stand out today. Well, Mason Shipley is up next, and I believe Shipley has also kept his name